we also have to maintain the rule of law and to make sure that the rights of every individual is protected, because after all, this is why the police are in very existence, is to protect its citizens. So, tinatanong ko po, sapagkat ang pulis nag-iimbestiga, ang pulis nanghuhuli, pero ang nag-iimbestiga sa pulis ngayon ay kapwa-pulis rin. Meron po kayong ipinahayag na ang Internal Affairs Head ay mananatili pa rin pulis. Tama po ba yun?
As of now, Your Honor, I find it necessary to maintain a police officer as the head of the Internal Affairs Service because of the reason that a lot of police officers and senior police officers are involved in the illegal drug trade. And if I put a civilian head in the Internal Affairs Service, madali lang pong i-threaten yung civilian. Baka hindi makalaban, hindi lalaban doon sa police na mga iskalawag. So, for me, for my own standard, I find it necessary to maintain the police officer as the head of the IAS. That he is capable of thwarting any threat being offered by these iskalawag police officers.
Well, I have no question about the credibility of the person that you appointed or the person who's heading the IAS now, because I don't really know him yet. But ang punto po dito ay nasa batas po na talagang nakalagay, civilian dapat. Yung nakaraan administrasyon, ang tagal na po namin silang kinausap ukol dito, hindi po nila pinalitan. Kaya nga po, umaasa nga kami, we remained hopeful that with this new administration, it would be such. I understand your concern na baka nga hindi makaya ng isang sibilyan ang kultura ng pulis, pero hindi po yun ang nakasaad sa batas at hindi po ako naniniwala, marami pong matatapang na sibilyan, kaya nga ganyan karami mga vigilantes, problema pa nga natin yan. Ang isa pa po,
Senator, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Laila de Lima. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning po. Good morning, Mr. Chair, and to everyone. Thank you.
kaya nga po, ang isa pa ay ganito, kayo ay ating mga pulis, tigapagtanggol namin. Kung maglalagay kayo ng isang civilian head doon, pero dahil naman kayo ay napapagkatiwalaan bilang aming Police Director General, alam ko, hindi nyo hahayaan ang kanyang kaligtasan. Kung kinakailangan maglagay ng isang batalyon na magbabantay ng isang internal affairs, hindi ko nakikita ang problema na yan. Pwede pang matanong kayo, kung sakasakali po na maglagay tayo ng civilian head, may mga suggestion po dito sa aming hanay, na siguro yung civilian head na yon direktang under the office of the President. Ano po sa tingin ninyo dito?
If that will be the case, Your Honor, baka hindi natin pwedeng tawaging Internal Affairs Service. External Affairs Service na dahil hindi na internal na PNP. Kung outside of the PNP, nanda sa Office of the President na.
Pero you agree that the President is the Commander-in-Chief and the President,
Yes, Your
and you're
Honor.
all under the President.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, it's not semantics. Actually, sir, ganito lang po yun. Kayo po ay may samahan ng brotherhood, hindi ba, sa mga pulis natin. Pero ginagalang ko po ang inyong polisiya na kahit pulis, pag bulok at may ginawang mali, ay hindi ninyo papayagan. Subalit syempre, dahil sa kultura na yan, di ba minsan, nangingilag rin naman sila na kasuhan o sumuway sa mga nakakataas sa kanila. Kaya nga po, hindi ba kayo direktang sumusuway sa batas sa hindi pagtala ng isang sibilyan dito sa IAS?
Your Honor, the appointment of General Loterio as acting Director Head of IAS is temporary nature. Pag medyo nag-settle na po itong sitwasyon, ma'am, Your Honor, pag na-address na po namin itong problema namin sa bulok ng aming hanay, ipapasok na po namin yung civilian pag medyo ang threat ay nawala na. But if you really want that to happen, right away, tomorrow, I can appoint new IAS, ma'am, Your Honor.
Yun nga yung maganda dito sa inyong liderato. Mabilis talaga kayong
Yes,
gumalaw. At aasahan po namin yan kasi kami naman, ang trabaho namin, hindi lamang magbalangkas ng batas, kung hindi, siguraduhin na may oversight. Ibig sabihin na sinusunod natin lahat yan. Maaring mali, maaring tama. Nandito kami, nakapartner ninyo. Pag sa tingin ninyo mali ang batas na yan, kailangan baguhin. Nandito din kami para ayusin yan. Pero bigyan nyo kami sana ng mga pangalan ng mga sibilyan or kung maaring tumanggap rin kayo na aming suggestion, di naman ninyo kailangan tanggapin, pero ng mga taong may kredibilidad, may tapang, merong malasakit sa inyong hanay na maiintindihan ang inyong mga gagawin. Ito po ipinasa sa akin ng ating chairman na yung organization, National, Regional, and Provincial Office of the Internal Affairs shall be established. Internal Affairs Service shall be headed by an Inspector General who shall be assisted by a Deputy Inspector General. The area offices shall be headed by a director, while the provincial offices shall be headed by a superintendent, provided that the head of the IAS shall be a civilian who shall meet the qualification requirements provided herein. So medyo malinaw po kasi sa 8551. Ayaw ko naman na malagay rin ang PNP sa imagine, ang dami na ninyong ginagawa, problema pa ninyo yan. So yun lang naman, at pakikinggan din naman ang inyong rekomendasyon. Hindi ko na po haban dahil marami rin magagandang katanungan ng ating mga kasama. Maraming salamat muli. Gusto ko lang tanungin, bilang kasamahan rin sa industriya at kami nagagalak na may appointment tayo ngayon sa National Youth Commission na talaga namang apektado, kaya nga ang ating presidente ay masigasig dito sa laban ng droga dahil ang mga apektado ay ang mga kabataan. So sa National Youth Commission, Chairman Aiza, ano bang iyong sa maikling sagot, ano bang mga programa ninyo para naman ma-complement ninyo yung programa ng gobyerno?
Well, right now, ma'am, meron po kami ngayon pa nagsasagawa po kami ng mga consultations for our PYDP. Pero sa ngayon po, ako nakikita ko talagang problema. Kasi nakikita natin ang drug problem na isa lang siyang addiction, problema panlipunan. Pero para po sa akin, there's always a why. Bakit nagkakaroon ng mga ganitong problema? And more than the rehabilitation, it's also very important na matutunan natin ang prevention nito sa mga kabataan, especially because dito po nagsisimula ang lahat eh. And right now, on our end, ma'am, we want to partner with all agencies na pwede namin makasama, to make more programs and policies para ma-address natin kung paano nagsisimula ito. Probably, mailagay po natin sa ang values formation, which is I think very important. Kasi para sa akin, kapag walang values, kasi walang bata ka o matanda ka, gagawin mo ito. Di lang kulang ngayon. Lahat tayo sa mga education natin, we're all geared towards people na paano sila magkakatrabaho. It's all about academics. But sometimes you forget that kahit buso ng utak natin, kung kumakalam ang puso at kaluluwa natin, gagawin natin ito. So yung mga proyekto na gagawin namin at mga policy should be geared towards this. And I hope that we get all the support from other agencies to implement.
Hindi maganda sa'yo ay sa nakakaramdam. Importante talaga ito sa isang namumuno. Nakakaramdam para hindi lamang implementasyon. Bakit? Tama. Maraming salamat. And I think the FYC is in the best position to be able to roll out programs for awareness and also for interaction with the youth. And I congratulate you again for your appointment. Last question before I yield to the chair again. General De La Rosa, meron po kasi kaming bill, yung Anti-Wiretapping Act na nais namin kasing i-revise, i-amend para po para masama na rin po hindi lamang yung terrorist activities kundi pa rin yung sa mga drugs. So ito naman po ay isang ayon kayo, nabasa naman po ninyo yung mga versions namin.
Yes, ma'am.
So makakatulong ito sa inyo.
Malaking tulong po, ma'am.
O sige. At kahuli-hulihan na lang pala, nakalimutan ko na naman. Meron isang Renato Bertis, kasama yung kanyang anak, na nakagapos di umano dito sa Southern Police District. Tapos, nanlaban daw, kaya pinatay. Siguro yung mga kasong ganito, ang dapat talagang malinawan kasi akalain mo sumuko na, tapos nanlaban daw at syempre nagkakaroon ng duda sa isip ng ating mga kababayan at nakakatakot yun kasi pag nakakita kami ng pulis, sumuko kami, ay baka patayin kami. Samantalang, ang isang mayor na Espinosa, nakakitaan ng drugs sa kanyang bahay, ngayon balik trabaho na. So ano ba talaga nangyayari dun sa kaso na yon?
Your Honor, may I ask the Regional Director of NCRPO to answer your question?
Yes,
Because
please.
this case is under his jurisdiction.
Okay. Southern Police ba to or NCRPO? Okay.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ma'am, that case in Pasay, that transpired in Pasay, those two involved policemen were already under investigation. They were immediately relieved of their post. Their firearms were taken out from them, their firearms and their badges. And now they're facing charges on, at the Commission on Human Rights.
Well, it's good to know because we need to be secure. If we are innocent, we need to feel secure with our police officers. That will be all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for the time you accorded me.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the information of Senator Ontiveros and De Lima, we're following the order of arrival sa pagtatanong. So, I'm giving the floor to Senator Nasan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have only 3 basic questions. Each of the questions will lead to the next question. I would like to ask what the relationship is on the ground nung present na implementing agencies natin. No? I'm talking about PIDEA, yung Philippine National Police, and of course yung Dangerous Drugs Board. So, what I will do is, Ronald, no? Since ikaw yung, by the way, congratulations. Since you are the most visible, I will ask you, nagkikita-kita ba kayong tatlo or your representatives? Is there a mechanism para nagko-coordinate kayong tatlo? Isama na natin yung NBI, si Director Dante.
Sir, Your Honor, as far as the Director of PDEA is concerned, almost in a daily basis, nagtitext kami, nagtatawagan, or minsan sa akin po siya nag-breakfast, Your Honor. At palagi kami nag-uusap. Sir?
Sino nagbabayad ng breakfast?
Ako po, Your Honor, dahil sa White House ko po siya nag-breakfast.
Okay. So, okay lang. I will ask you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dahil ang agenda natin dito, ang number 1 sa agenda, yung creation ng Presidential Anti-Drug Authority. Ibig sabihin, baka may pagkukulang yung present setup natin. Kaya, ito ngayon ang proposal on the table. That will be my last question actually. So, Ronald, itong history nitong drug problem natin, gusto ko lang susugin. No? Dahil kung hindi natin alam kung saan tayo nanggaling, natin malaman kung saan tayo pupunta. Di ba? Okay. Hindi naman ito yung natulog tayo kagabi. Paggising natin kanina, ngayong umaga, biglang may drug problem na tayo. Di ba? Oh. So, ito yung actually continuation ito ng kwentuhan namin ni Senator Pacquiao na hindi ito nangyari overnight. Correct? Ito ay, siguro, we must all assume responsibility for this. Dahil ayaw ko naman pumunta ron sa sisihan na naman, no? So, ito yung pinagsama-sama na epekto ng parang napabayaan. No? But having said that, without finger pointing, I would like to state na every administration na maalala natin had an opportunity to do something about this. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, nandito ngayon, we are at the stage where we have a drug problem and it is your job, it is our job, our duty and responsibility to help each other address this problem. Second point. We are not taking any position here, no? Pero ang ibig sabihin nito, yung dinatnan nitong kasalukuyang administrasyon, hindi naman ito yung pag-upo ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. Iba na yung pulis, iba na yung PDEA, iba na yung dangerous drug sport, iba na yung nasa NBI. You are still underpaid, undermanned, and poorly led. You are discovering that now. Na yung hanay natin from top to bottom, yung katabi mo pala reportedly is a cuddler of the syndicates. Is that an accurate statement?
Very accurate, Your Honor.
Okay. Having said that, no, I'm not justifying your actions. No? Tama yung sinabi ni Senator Grace. But there's no excuse, no, for the taking of human life, no, through illegal and lawful means. Pero ibang usapan niya, no? So ang punto rito, we have to go through this painful stage. Kailangan magdaan tayo rito, no? Until mataasan natin yung sahod ng police and all agencies involved, no? Madagdagan yung manpower nila at siguruhin na yung mga leader nila down to the lower ranks are dedicated, honest, competent. Is that a fair statement?
Very fair statement, Your Honor.
Okay. So, tanggapin na, I hope we will get over this. Because, ito naman yung caveat dyan. Pag nataasan na yung sahod, nadagdagan na yung manpower, at nalinis na natin yung hanay natin, ng mga, alam mo na, may mga elemento na hindi karapat-dapat magsuot ng uniforme, wala na tayong excuse. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, Your Honor. But I would rather state that ang pulis, kahit na taasan mo ng sweldo yan, kung talagang sindikato yan, magsisindikato talaga yan. Kahit naman walang sweldo yan, basta nasa puso niya yung kanyang sworn na duty na to serve and protect. Kahit wala akong sweldo, makipagpatayan ako kay sino makipagpatayan sa akin kung talagang at stake na yung sitwasyon nating bansa. Yan po ang katotohanan, Your Honor.
Well, since you are the Director General of the Philippine National Police, we have, your committee has to believe you until proven otherwise. Okay? So,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, sinasabi ko, we will give you the benefit of the doubt. But at a certain point in time, when we have run out of excuses, then we go back to the Constitution. No? Article 3, the protection of life, liberty, and property. Okay? That's our primary, yung Bill of Rights. Actually, sinisimula po ng basahin at ulit-ulitin para maintindihan natin yan. No? My last question is, you may answer this, you may give us an idea of your submissions dahil ang nag-submit pa lang, yung PDEA, ng position paper, written, no? DOJ and FBI. Okay. You can articulate your position, no? Describe it, para we can put it on record. We'll be reading this anyway, or you can leave it as it is. But again, second guessing our chairman, we will expect the same submissions from every resource person that is appearing before this committee.
Yes, Your Honor. We have our copy of our inputs and we'll submit that later, Your Honor.
Okay, is that the same for DDB, Secretary Rojas? Meron kayong submission dito? Hindi. DDB, no submission.
We have submitted, sir.
You have submitted?
Yes, sir.
But we don't have it in front of us. Anyway,
We have not received your position paper.
We sent it by email, sir, and hard
okay,
copy.
Secretary Rojas, you want to articulate or give us a bird's eye view of your submission on, doon na lang muna, no? We have been advised with Chairman na everything will emanate from the restructuring of our anti-drug crusade. So, can you describe to us what you submitted? As far as Senate Bill number 3 lang is concerned.
Sir, first of all, we appreciate the efforts of the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, especially Chairman Senator Panfilo Lacson, for inviting us over. And this would be a good opportunity for us to explain our policies and procedure and our submissions to the committee. First, in general, we support the proposal to have a PRADA or
Anti-Drug Agency, basically merging the PDEA and the Drug Enforcement Agency. At in this case, mas mabilis po sir yung action. Dahil right now, before the Dangerous Drugs Board can implement and draft a policy, we still have to meet the board of about 17 members. Then we have to discuss before we have the final policy and to be implemented by the law enforcement agencies. So,
In short,
Yes, sir.
I just want to, Mr. Chairman, no? So, Secretary Rojas, no? What you are implying is, padaanin na natin to sa technical working group, pag-usapan natin yung mga conflicting provisions, and then we come up with a first draft.
that's right, sir.
But basically, you agree with the creation of the PRADA.
Yes, sir. We only have some minor suggestions, but basically, in general, we submit to the proposal.
Mr. Chairman, can I go to PIDEA?
Yes, Your Honor.
You agree?
Well, we appreciate the intention and purpose of Senator Soto for the creation of the Presidential Anti-Drug Authority, or PRADA. However, we strongly believe that it's more prudent to retain the present setup and just strengthen PIDEA and name as the lead agency and name Presidential Drug Enforcement Authority. We are submitting our position papers in detail, but may I just mention some salient feature of these suggestions that we are submitting. On Section 1, the name PIDEA, or Philippine Drug Authority, instead of the proposed PRADA, or Presidential Anti-Drug Authority, is recommended. First is how the name recall. PIDEA is in existent for 14 years already, and it has been in the forefront in the fight against drugs. So it is synonymous to anti-illegal drug campaign. And then secondly, on Section 3, the following are our comments and recommendations.
Sid, excuse me. It may just give you some comfort, kasi I received a text from Senator Soto, para lang komportable ka.
Yes, sir.
Sabi niya, yung bill niya, sabi niya, he's open to amendments and brighter ideas. So, just articulate freely kung ano yung gusto mong isabihin dito to improve yung bill o yung panukalang batas ni Senator Soto. He doesn't mind. So, sige lang.
Okay, so Sid, para spare you the agony of commenting on the other sections, no? Yung pangalan, malaking issue ba ito? Yung sinasabing name recall?
As far as the illegal drug campaign is concerned, and yung coordination namin with the other agencies involved in this campaign, we have been using the name PIDEA. It's synonymous already to anti-illegal drug campaign of the government, sir.
By the way, no, I just wanted to add, importante yung input ni Senator Soto, the principal author, no?
Yes, sir.
Dahil you will be the one implementing this. Diba? And when you implement this, we want you to go all out to implement this.
That's right, sir.
Pangalan lang yan, pero big issue sa inyo. We change the name. And Senator Soto is agreeing to that. Anyway,
That's right,
but
Your Honor.
basically you agree with the concept.
Yes, sir. The concept, yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
And of course, may I just mention, sir, about because it mentions the abolition of the PIDEA as an agency. But we are recommending, of course, it's in our position paper, that PIDEA will be retained as the functions and the responsibilities, the authority, the power of the present PIDEA agency will be retained as part of that enforcement bureau that he mentioned under that PRADA, because it's already functioning very well, Your Honor. So I suggest that it will be retained as an enforcement arm of the authority.
Okay,
Yes, Your
we understand. Hindi naman dahil sa hindi original yung Prada. Okay. Hindi. Now, Mr. Chairman, let me go to Director Dante and Yusek Erickson. No?
Permission to interject, Sir Vice Chairman. Gusto ko lang malaman kasi medyo confused ako kung ano yung working relationship between DDB and PIDEA. Kasi parang may overlap ang inyong mga functions, di ba? You're also dealing with policy. DDB is of course policy, di ba? So ano ba, how do you work together? Of course, DDB came first before PIDEA, di ba? So hindi ba naging, for lack of a better word, irrelevant yung mandate ng DDB noong lumabas na yung PIDEA? Kasi hindi ba nagkakaroon ng conflict? Of course, madali sabihin, you can easily understand each other, pero ang problema sa functions. So I want to hear more on the working relationship between DDB, which is 17 board members, and PIDEA. Please.
Sir, I think there's no problem with coordination from by DDB and PIDEA. Sa office pa lang, sir, first, second floor sila, kami sa third floor. So, wala naman sir problema dahil legal drugs is a multifaceted problem. So it has to involve with Department of Health, law enforcement, social economic problem. So we have to task these agencies to formulate an accurate anti-drug policy. So there's no problems on the ground. We also do not interfere with operations on the ground because that's the work of the law enforcement agencies. We get regular reports from them. So based from the reports, pinag-aaralan sir namin how to go about, how to improve the illegal drugs operation. For example, sir, yung latest effort namin on how to deal with drug surrenderers. Right now, it's about 600,000 na, sir. So, kulang lang, 44 lang yung drug rehab centers natin. So, anong gagawin natin doon sa maraming drug surrenderers? So, we are drafting a policy, sir, kung we are teaching the Drugs Abuse Council kung anong gagawin doon sa mga surrenderers na hindi naman drug pushers, walang standing warrant of arrest, na hindi naman kailangan ng confinement. On most probably, pwedeng counseling lang, sir, or outpatient program.
Mr. Chairman, Secretary Rojas, well, we'll not go into details, no? But historically, you and I know, no? And we get inputs from the former chairman of the DDB, no less than our majority floor leader now, no? That as a policy setting mechanism, the Dangerous Drugs Board, the news, the information we're getting is not very encouraging. We have gone through a stage where bihira mag-meeting. No. Magbi-meeting, kukunti nga atin. Puro representatives. As if, that's what I mean when I ask the first question, the history of our drug problem. So, it's not broken, why fix it? But apparently, we need to take a second look at this because apparently the mechanisms are broken. I'm just putting that on record para, we have no time to, okay? So, let me go back, Mr. Chairman, with your provision finally, to NBI and DOJ. You have separate position papers. Basically, either Yusek Erickson or Director Dante can answer this. Agree or disagree with Prada?
Thank you, Senator Greg Unasan, sir. Good morning to all the senators here. My former boss, Ma'am Dilema, of course, the new Senator Tideros, of course, Senator Sir Ping, Idol Manny Pacquiao, and Ma'am Nancy Binay. First of all, Sir Greg, I feel privileged to be here with you tonight, today. And I would say that I have a very good appreciation of your forward-looking mind by saying that not only every administration should have a new look at a particular law, particularly drug problems, which is a menace to the society. I would say that it has not only every administration should make changes about this problem, but law as on its entirety must be dynamic, and this is the purpose of the Honorable Honasan and the rest of crafting a law about PDEA. You're asking me about, sir, about
Yung Senate Bill number 3, draft natin, yung declaration of a presidential
Madam?
anti-drug authority.
no problem with that, sir, for us. No? As a matter of fact, we have submitted our position paper. Para sa akin, sir, ano lang siguro, there must be a higher authority that would oversee the entire operation of the PDEA. The PDEA is already a legacy. It has its name. And aside from that, maybe it has to be clothed with some more powers. Not only enforcement, but powers like prosecution. I don't know how this will sit with my boss here from the DOJ. But, you know, the problem of drugs, sabi ko nga, involves the entire problem of the society. It corrupts not only life, it corrupts our spiritual being, and it corrupts the entire system of government, particularly because of corruption. So kailangan talaga may pagbabago, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dante. Mr. Chairman, one last point. Dati-dati, mayroong tripartite, may MOA, yung tatlong departments, no? DOJ, NBI, Bureau, DILG, another bureau, the Philippine National Police. AFP, because sooner or later, the AFP will be involved in this, no? But I'm saying all these things, heads up kayo, because you will be getting a regular dose of this, no? Why? Senator Lacson and I have agreed that I will help him in the Committee on Public Order, and he will help me very competently in the Committee on National Defense. Now, why am I skirting the issue? You better put your heads together, because we are getting raw information, which you want to validate, that the drug problem is state-sponsored by another country. Nakatingin tayo sa West Philippine Sea, you know, there's a deliberate effort to erode our moral and social fabric, at yung target, our most precious, strategic and renewable resource, our children, the next generation of leaders and citizens. Suppose one of these drug users becomes senator or president, you have a problem. So this will require all our energies, mental, physical, spiritual. I'm just giving you heads up. Does the DOJ, being the department supervising the Bureau, the NBI, have any other position?
Good morning, Senator Onasan. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, distinguished members of the Honorable Committee. Foremost, for purpose of the record, may I just humbly state that I am not the Undersecretary of the DOJ. There is no appointment issued yet. I'm just a member of the transition team representing Secretary Aguirre, just for the purpose of the record. Because without an appointment, the presumptive is only a presumptuous. So we just want to state that for the record. Be that as it may, Mr. Senator Onasan, the department, by virtue of its position paper submitted August 17, 2016, wholeheartedly supports the creation of the PRADA law, subject only to some observations we have stated in our position paper, particularly on Section 7. But beyond that, we commit to support the passage of the law, Your Honor.
That's good. By the way, I'm just curious. Are you the presumptive incoming Undersecretary?
There are two ways to put it. I am assuming to assume, and I am presumptuous as of the moment without the appointment.
Mr. Chairman, on a side issue,
Yes, sir.
Please convey this to whoever is making decision, Ronald. That ang nakaka-delay dito sa efforts natin is the slow process of appointments. Again, no, I'm putting this at your table. Kayong magparating, no?
Yes, sir.
Sa kinaukulan, no?
Yes, sir.
Na, kaya walang decision na nangyayari on both the revenue side and the operation side. Walang bagal. I'm not blaming anybody, no?
Yes, sir.
So, medyo pabilisin natin because we should have done all this yesterday. Finally, Mr. Chairman, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, no? We have a window for the sake of our children to do this not only right, but to do this well. All hands tayo ito, and I think the chairman, you should expect maximum cooperation from your Senate committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your insights.
Thank you, Senator Nasan. Naiwanan natin yung tungkol sa PhilHealth. Anyway, si Senator Ontiveros will tackle the issue that involves PhilHealth as per Senate Bill number 8. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Ejercito. Next on the line is Senator Pacquiao, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. To our CPNP. Alam niyo, before this administration, I've been expending my own money to fight this illegal drugs. So, gumagastos ako ng malaki para lang tulungan ang ating mga kapulisan sumpurin yung illegal drugs na yan. At gusto kong malaman kasi doon sa aking mga datos din, may sarili din akong datos. Actually, pwede kong ibigay sa iyo, General, yung mga clippings ko doon, ipon ko, ang dami na, no? Yung mga files ko doon, dahil yung mga pinahuli, hindi ko naman pinapatay, kundi pinahuli ko lang dahil namiminsala ng mga kabataan, no? Hindi pa ako umabot doon sa pag-execute ng okay, pero ang gusto ko lang malaman, dahil doon sa aking mga datos may mga pulis din na mga involved, no, mga kapulisan natin. Doon sa nabanggit niyo po kanina na 22 cases na na-file doon sa Supreme Court, ba? Ilan ang mga pulis na involved doon sa 22? Ang kasali doon, wala pa. So far, Your Honor, wala pa. Wala pa? Wala, Your Honor. Ongoing naman yung investigation nyo doon sa mga other cases na... Yes, Your Honor. Yung na-file po ng kaso ay mga identified na mga drug pushers na naging hitman ng kanilang upline sa drug trade. Thank you. Ang sunod kong katanungan ay, of all this campaign against illegal drugs, ano bang solusyon din natin doon sa, alam natin maraming sumuko, ang daming gustong magbago, no? Gustong magbago at tulungan ang ating administrasyon, tulungan ang ating tulungan kayo na pagandahin ang ating bayan. Anong alternative solution natin para sa kanila na matulungan natin sila? Kasi alam mo yan sila, pagka wala silang magbago nga sila for 1 week, pero kung wala silang ibang pagkakaabalahan, malaking posibilidad, that's 95 to 99% na pwede silang bumalik doon sa bisyo nila. So especially rehabilitation center? Your Honor, regarding rehabilitation centers, long-term solution is our government is already looking for establishing big rehabilitation centers in every regions. But right now, we are talking about, I just would like to cite an example kung best practices ng police po natin sa Piano 12, wherein yung mga nag-surrender sa Jenison at sa nearby provinces, nakipag-link up po sila sa local government units at saka ibang mga NGOs. Meron po silang hiniram na 15 hectares, I think, na lupa, at doon nila hinaus yung mga surrenderers. And the last time I visited them, nag-graduate na po sila sa kanilang training, kasama yung TISDA, tinrain yung mga surrenderers, at they appear to be really rehabilitated because sabi nila, Tuwang-tuwa sila sa ginagawa doon. Nagpapakain sila ng kambing, papakain ng manok. Maganda po ang ginawa nila. Livelihood, agriculture, yung carpentry. Napakaganda po nangyari doon sa bayan mo po, mismo Honorable Secretary.
Actually, yung lupa ko doon, pinagamit ko doon for rehabilitation sa mga nag-surrender. Pinagamit ko sa nila, or plano ko nga i-donate yun for rehabilitation yung lupa ko para makatulong sa kanila. Dahil maraming mga drug addicts na kilala ko at sumuko sila, pero naghahanap sila ng pagkakaabalahan. At ito nga, gusto kong i-encourage ang bawat isa na hindi lang mga kapulisan, kundi sa ating mga private sectors na tulungan din natin yung mga kapulisan natin, dahil hindi magaganap yung pagbabago ng ating bansa kung hindi tayo magtutulungan. So anyway, maraming salamat General, at ang aking susunod na katanungan ay para naman doon sa PDEA. Ang PDEA, alam natin yan, no? Napakaraming asset ng PDEA ang napapatay, at maraming mga asset ng PDEA is involved sa drugs. So, anong masasabi niyo po dito?
Thank you, Your Honor. On the assets of PDEA who are involved into drug, we are now in the continuing process of cleansing our ranks. When you say asset, Your Honor, are you referring to yung mga agents?
Yes.
Yeah, we have received a few reports against our agents, but we are in the process of having this addressed, Your Honor. We are not in the practice of hiring or getting assets as a matter of policy of PDEA. But we accept, we develop yung mga informants or mga informers that helps the PDEA in our operations, Your Honor.
Kasi nangyari kasi sa amin, gusto ko lang ikwento sa inyo po yung pangyayari. Kaya ako naisipan kong bumuo ng private group para makabuo ng information, tapos saka ko i-inform ang mga pulis para bigyan ng mahuli. Ang nangyayari, nung kausap ko yung mga taga-PDEA, pag may information na natatanggap ko, tapos sila ang pinautusan ko, pagdating doon, ang resulta wala na yung target, wala na yung mga naso, kumbaga, maraming kasi lagi nating nakikita sa TV, lagi natin yung mga PNP, pero marami, alam mo, ang dami dyan sa PDEA member na involved sa drugs. Gusto kong, kasi hindi na mabalita pero sila ang, sa tingin ko sila ang grabing involvement sa pagdating sa drugs.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will appreciate if the Honorable Senator can furnish us information about that. As I've said earlier, our program in cleansing our ranks is a top priority, is as a priority as that in our supply reduction, Your Honor. In fact, we have several PDEA agents who have been already dismissed from the service. When we receive information, and then we work on this information and found them to be positive, Your Honor.
Thank you. You know, I've been helping PDEA, PNP since before to help them to fight against illegal drugs. Hindi ko na siguro isa-isahin yung ginawa ko na pagtulong sa kanila, pero gusto ko kasi unfair sa mga PNP natin, puro mga pulis ang nasa sa laman ng dyaryo, laman ng TV, pero behind that, sa tingin ko mas maraming involvement ang PDEA, no, sa pagdating sa drugs. Siguro this time, no, kasama niyo ako sa pagsugpo sa droga sa Pilipinas dito sa ating bansa. Siguro aksyon na natin 'yan dahil diyan lumalaki ang ulo ng mga civilian dahil ang sinasabi, alam niyo bang sinasabi ano ako ng PDEA So parang ginagamit yung pangalang PDEA para sila malayang makapaglako ng droga sa ating mga kabataan, no? Yan ang nagiging problema natin. Gusto ko ma-address yan, Director.
Yes, Your Honor, and again, we will appreciate it very much if you can furnish us those information, because high on my agenda is the cleansing of the ranks of PDEA. If you will remember, the President himself no less even mentioned of the abolition of PDEA. And so we are now, I would say we have improved a lot on this, and during my visits to our regional offices, I will always mention about that, the correction of that image of PDEA, because so many are using the name of PDEA, because when you say PDEA, it connotes that authority against illegal drugs. That's why I always tell my men and women in the field na if there's somebody among you that you hear that he is doing misbehavior, then we ourselves shall correct that companion, that fellow member. Dahil kasi pag sinabing pag may gumagawang isa, hindi naman sasabihin si Mr. Juan de la Cruz ang gumagawa niyan kundi PDEA agent or PDEA asset. That's why the PDEA name is dragged along the line. So that's why I made it a priority program under my administration, Your Honor. And thank you for bringing that out.
Maraming salamat. Alam ko pong bago lang kayo dyan sa posisyon niyo na yan. Gusto ko pong malaman kung ilan na po ba ang datos natin o bilang na nahuli nyo about na-involved sa droga. Gusto ko pong malaman.
Yes, Your Honor. As of August 12 of this year, we have now a total of, for the year 2016, as of August 12, we have now a total of 11,128 operations conducted, and we have a total of 12,081 persons arrested, and 12,288 cases filed.
With the permission of Senator Pacquiao, consolidated na ito, no? Kasama sa PNP.
Yes, it's
ito.
yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
PDEA initiated, and the joint operation. We usually conduct operations jointly with other government agencies, Your Honor, with the PNP or the NBI. And other government agencies involved in the campaign against illegal drugs, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat, Director, at asahan ko yung pagbabago ng PDEA sa pagsugpo ng the way they implement yung pagsugpo sa ating pinagbabawal na gamot sa lipunan. Kasi gusto kong hindi mangyari yung mga nakaraang administrasyon, yung sinusugpo nga nila pero pinipili lang nila yung tao na huhuli nila. Yung may lagay, nakakaikot. So, yan, ang dami kong alam na mga na ganyan dyan sa ahensya ninyo. So, gusto kong tiwala naman ako sa iyo dahil nilagay kayo ni President Duterte dyan dahil tiwala siya sa inyo. So, gusto kong gampanan ninyo ng gusto yung trabaho ninyo para masugpo yung droga dito sa bansa natin. Maraming salamat, Director. At last, Mr. Chairman, gusto kong itanong din doon sa ating, alam nyo, karamihan na na-involve sa droga ngayon ay ang ating mga kabataan. Ang ating mga kabataan. Ang tanong ko doon sa National Youth Commission na kung ano ang alam na natin na dito sa bansa natin bawal na yung droga, bawal na yung ano bang ginawa na gagawin natin para ma-encourage yung mga youth natin anong ang tawag nito, parang ibaling yung focus nila doon sa bisyo nila, instead magbisyo sila doon na lang sa ibang bagay. So anong action na nagawa niyo po, Mr. Sigera?
Senator Pacquiao. Hindi mo ako misis. Actually, naniniwala po kami sa National Youth Commission at ang drug problem po ay twofold po yan. Ang isang parte ay na-action na po ng ating Philippine National Police. Ang isang parte ay po dapat pagtulungan ng National Youth Commission, the Department of Health, DSWD. Actually, sana po nandito ng Department of Education kasi para po sa akin napaka-importante ng edukasyon. Hindi na po edukasyon ng mga nasa eskwela natin mga kabataan, pero most especially our out-of-school youth. So ako po, naniniwala po ako that we should create more programs, no? Programs para ma-address natin ang mga out-of-school youth natin, magkaroon ng mga training, mas maintindihan nila. And regarding, of course, I just read something na ang addiction daw po, aside from DOH, ay isang mental health issue na. So yun din po, gusto rin po namin makipagtulungan sa Department of Health para talagang yung pagsugpo natin sa droga ay multifaceted. Hindi lang po ito dahil sa kahirapan or other things, but I believe that drug problem is a mental health problem that dapat talaga ay society ang gumagamot. Hindi kaya ng pagsugpo lang ito. Kumbaga, ang role ng PNP ay nandiyan po sila para sugpuin yung mga organisasyon at mga sindikato na kumbaga gumagamit ng kahinaan ng mga may mental health problem na ito. Pero, ano ang gagawin natin? So sa NYC po, like yun, nag-create po kami and we're pushing for the enhanced social protection framework. It's to push for the social safety net. We shall provide mechanism and urgent responses to the needs of vulnerable youth groups. And the Commission will also push for social welfare interventions. Na mas ito po ay preventive measures. Kasi po, para sa akin naniniwala ako na sa kahit anong pang sakit, kahit anong pang problema, prevention, di ba? Yan ang pinaka-importante, is better than cure. And isasama po namin yan lahat sa Philippine Youth Development Plan para sa susunod na 2017 to 2022 na aming inaayos. And ako po bilang galing po sa sektor ng arts and culture, naniniwala po ako na napakalaking bagay po ng arts and culture sa paghubog po ng isang katauhan. Naniniwala po ako na kung maibaba po natin ulit ang arts and culture sa mga kabataan natin, kung kaya natin i-bring down to sa barangay levels natin, na ika nga kung ang bawat barangay may basketball court, sana meron din tayong sana meron tayong mga youth centers for youth centers para doon tayo magpo-provide at magiging avenue itong mga youth centers na to para magkaroon tayo ng mga trainings, makikipag-partner nga tayo with Kevin about that. And of course, if we can partner also with NCCA, di ba, para magkaroon tayo ng mas magandang network. Kasi it takes a whole village to raise a child. So, ang youth natin, kailangan lahat tayo magsama-sama para matugunan natin itong mga problemang to.
At isa natin, siguro natin sila na kasi nung bata kasi ako, may grupo-grupo kami. No, grupo-grupo kami kung anong sabihin ng leader namin, yun ang gagawin namin.
Exactly.
No, mga bata kami. So, nung araw, mga bata pa kami, yung leader namin, umiinom, tumitikim ng alak, tumitikim din kami ng alak. No, umiinom, nagsisigarilyo, tumitikim ng sigarilyo, tumitikim din kami lahat ng sigarilyo. Pero yung grupo namin, ang dami namin mga bata, grupo kami, nung nag-decide kami, mag-boxing na lang tayo. Di, lahat kami, huwag na tayo mag-inom dahil bawal yan sa vaccine. So, nag-boxing na lang kami. Kaya ito, naging boxing hero ako. Dahil doon sa mga grupo-grupo rin. So, importante siguro yung as a chairman, no? As a chairman of our youth, kailangan siguro na-encourage sila na hindi lamang sa mga kundi na-encourage sila every day or once a week na encouragement sa kanila na pang-aralan. Kasi sumusunod lang yan sila sa kung sino yung pinuno nila.
Yes.
So maraming salamat Chairman. At ating lahat, yun po Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Pagda. Before I recognize Senator Binay, tanongin ko lang sa Bucor at saka sa BJP. Alam naman natin na yung penal system natin, di ba? More than punitive, rehabilitative. Tanong ko lang, meron bang special rehabilitation program ang Bucor for inmates convicted for violating the Dangerous Drugs Act?
Good morning po. Wala pong specific rehabilitation program for drug dependent. General sir yung treatment namin sa lahat ng inmates on the aspect of reformation.
BJP, lalong wala.
Good morning, sir. Sa case po ng BJMP, considering that we are holding majority of our inmates are still detainees, so wala po kaming rehabilitation program na po talaga. Pero we are offering welfare and development activities for the inmates. For example, in coordinations with the DepEd, the Alternative Learning System program is also offered in our facilities. Sa TESDA po yung mga technical programs, education trainings, and also we also have this behavioral shaping activity, yung therapeutic community modality program, na pwede rin pong i-adapt namin doon sa community, especially doon sa mga nag-surrenders na drug dependents.
Wala ring isolation program sa Bucor. Sama-sama na. As a convict,
Sa ngayon sir,
ang classification na lang maximum, medium,
and minimum sir.
and minimum.
Yes sir. But
So walang isolation program para sa mga drug convicts.
not sir. Ang meron lang
BJP, wala rin.
In view of the sir, kakulangan sa space, hindi po talaga ma-isolate.
Yeah, you were about to say something ba?
Sa ngayon lang sir, meron lang sir kami yung high risk, in-isolate po namin from the maximum. Ito sir yung tinatawag nating, kumisa tinatawag namin sa Bucor na Supermax. Ito po yung Building 14 na composed of most of these inmates, numbering 54, ay involved po sa illegal drugs sir.
Senator Nasan. With the permission of the Senator Binay.
Mr. Chairman, to Rolly, no? And Jun, can you furnish your committee as far back as you can record, no? Broad strokes. Nakakailang raid o halughog na ba tayo sa NBP? Okay?
Yes, sir.
Don't answer that now. No? It must be a comprehensive report. And then, ano ang outcome? Nakakailan na, no? As far as you can remember. Dahil, Mr. Chairman, my point is, we cannot do this forever. Raid tayo ng raid. Something must be wrong. Diba? So I go back to history. How many raids have been conducted as far as you can remember? Or let's say last 6 years. Ganun na lang. No? And then, ano ang outcome? And then, ano ang ginawa after the raid? Because almost on a daily basis, no? Or weekly basis, may nire-raid. May na-uncover. The same materials, cell phones, deadly weapons, drugs, television sets, high-tech. Paulit-ulit. There must be an end to this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hasan. Senator Binay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Secretary Rojas, kanina po nabanggit nyo na may 600,000 ako na nag-surrender. Ano na ho yung estado ng mga taong ito? Nakakulong ba sila? Or pinasok mo ba natin sa isang rehab center? Or pinauwi lang ho natin?
Thank you, ma'am, for the question. The picture is we have about 600,000 surrenderers, but from our study, only about 9% of the 600,000 needs confined rehabilitation, ma'am. So the rest could undergo program requiring physical, mental, and other programs designed by the Department of Health. So and we are also inviting the different interfaith groups to assist us. For example, yung Quanto, yung Christ Commission Fellowship, they have their own program, 6-month program, and the rate of success is about 70%. So we're inviting other interfaith groups to join us in this program, outpatient program or counseling program for those that do not need confinement.
How do you measure that ho? Yung 9% na ito kailangan i-confine, ito pwedeng ganitong treatment lang. Is there a way of testing?
Ma'am, may program po ang DOH to determine alin po dito ang kailangan ng confinement, alin dito ang pwedeng outpatient program. So doon po sa initial screening, may mga 10-11 questionnaires tayo, check lang. Kung more than 4 checks doon sa list natin, evaluate ng DOH doctors kung talagang kailangan pa ng outpatient or kailangan na i-confine yung pasyente.
Siguro, Asek Punzalan, baka you can explain further.
Thank you very much po. Dr. Elmer Punzalan po, Assistant Secretary, Department of Health, in charge of the Dangerous Drugs Abuse Prevention Control Treatment Program of the Department of Health. We had consolidations and consolidated meetings with Secretary Basco and Secretary Suena and the Dangerous Drugs Board and the PDEA. I belong to the Cluster 1. It was subdivided into 3 clusters. The Cluster 1 headed by yours truly. Cluster 2, which are the religious group headed by our religious the UBAS. And then the Cluster 3 for rehabilitation headed by the DSWD. And of course, I requested all of the different departments to be a part of all the 3 clusters. Now, in the meantime, we have drafted a mechanism. First, delineating, or we call it triaging, of the different kind of patients, as we call them, or surrenderers, into categories like their degree of addiction. They could be occasional users, they could be which are only supplementers, and experimenters, and then we have the moderately addicted individuals, and of course the heavy drug users. And on top of this all, they are also evaluated with regards to the comorbidities, the comorbidities involving medical aspects like mental health, and also tuberculosis, pulmonary, and also HIV. The injecting drug users.
Asek Punzalan, can you please provide the committee yung clustering nyo and then a breakdown of, kunyari, yung kung ilan ho yung kasama doon sa classification na yun?
Yes, Madam Senator, we have a list and we have a provision of the of this your inquiry, and it is written down, and we have provided this in the form of a manual, and in coordination also with the other agencies that I have mentioned, for a complete response to the increasing number of surrenderers, as we call them. And we call our drug users as recovering drug dependents. Madam Senator.
Thank you po, Asek. Yung nabanggit niyo 9% needs confinement. So I assume out of the 600,000, yung 9% ang naka-confine?
Not yet, ma'am. For example, we only have about 44 drug rehabilitation centers all over the country with a bed capacity of about 5,000. So kulang na kulang po talaga, ma'am. So the President has instructed to put up rehabilitation centers doon sa mga military at PNP camps na kung saan pwedeng magtayo na may space pa. And they will allocate funds for this purpose.
Yung 44 government-run rehabilitation centers?
Government, ma'am, and privately run.
So yung 44 government and private
Opo,
naman.
yes.
So ilan ho yung government, ilan yung private?
Between 15 for the government and for the rest are private, ma'am.
15 ho yung government?
Yes, ma'am.
And saan ho naka-spread out yung 15 na to?
It's all over the country, ma'am. We have a list there. We can submit to you the location.
Submit,
Yes.
Secretary. So sinabi nyo, 5,000 lang yung capacity ng 44 drug rehab. So what happens dun ho sa nag-surrender na kailangan ng confinement? Nasaan na ho sila ngayon?
Well, for the meantime, ma'am, yung walang warrant of arrest, walang tactical information na kailangan, bumabalik po doon sa area nila. They will be monitored by the drug abuse councils in their respective areas, and they will also undergo a program drafted by DDB and the Department of Health.
Sa experience nyo ho ba, how successful is rehabilitation?
That's a tough question, ma'am. From our records, the success rate of our rehab program, yung confined, ma'am, that's about 24% lang ang success rate natin.
So kumbaga 24% lang ho talaga yung talagang kumbaga nakaka-recover from the addiction? And then the rest, so parang bumabalik ulit sila dun sa dating gawin?
Yes, ma'am, but this is a health issue. Dahil yung mga shabu po, ma'am, it's a chemicals lang. Kaya hindi talaga ma-wash out sa systems. Unlike kung drug, heroin, or poppies na pwedeng ma-detoxify. But yung shabu, ma'am, it cannot be cleansed from the system. Kaya there's a probability of bumabalik sa drug rehab.
Siguro, how much is the cost per drug dependent to have them rehabilitated? Siguro somebody from ang DOH yung bang in charge ng mga drug rehab centers?
Yes, Madam Senator. The cost per patient is 10,000 per month per patient of our DOH patients situated in all our treatment and rehab centers distributed around the country. But as of now, it is mandated by law, which says that all provinces should have at least one rehabilitation center. But that is yet a dream up to now, Madam Senator. But in reality, there are presently 4 regional and others are LGU maintained rehabilitation centers.
Senator Binay, with your permission, gusto ko lang balikan yung 24% all kinds of drug addiction or pang-shabu lang?
Tama, sir. Marijuana and shabu, sir.
Pang-shabu lang yung 24%?
Marijuana and shabu, sir.
Marijuana and shabu?
Yes, sir.
Yung ibang addiction, kung ito-total mo, ilan yung successful rehabilitation rate?
Mga approximately...
Tataas?
Yes, sir. Plus and minus 2%, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Siguro, Asek Punzalan,
yes.
Sino ang mga provinces yung naka-comply with the requirement?
There are only region,
Region.
Senator.
Yes.
All the regions, they are DOH operated. The only 4 regions na mayroong rehabilitation centers are LGUs are Marikina, Quezon City, Davao, and one in Laguna. But these are government LGU-run rehabilitation centers. But our existing rehabilitation centers are regional. For example, in Bikutan for NCR, one in Tagaytay for region 4, and then region 1 in Dagupan, which is the latest and so far the most modern form of rehabilitation center built in Region 1 situated in Dagupan City, and the rest of the regional areas like Region 7 and the other regions, including Mindanao.
How long po is the recovery?
It is a process po, Madam Senator.
Siguro on the average, kasi di ba parang you said we're spending 10,000 a month per patient. So,
medically, it will take about 6 to 12 months. But that depends on the activities and the degree of addiction. So they're so evaluated as such. And there are programs. Your question, Madam Senator, a while ago with regards to the rehabilitated but goes back to the habit is quite high because it involves also, well, religious, as Senator Pacquiao was mentioned, gives a very boost, a helping hand in rehabilitating our patients. But mostly they are affected by the community. When after they are rehabilitated, the community, the people around, the people they lived with, and solution to their problems, why they resorted to drugs, should also be included in the recovery evaluation. Kaya po, yung iba na rehabilitate na, pagkatapos sila ang bumabalik kasi the same community, the same non-supportive elements of the society, and they are, kumbaga, na-typecast na as so stigmatized as drug users. So I think there has to be a unified effort for rehabilitation. Plus, of course, these things, kahit na-rehabilitate natin, but the source is not resolved. Sabi nga po, continually mayroong pinagkukuhanan. The circuit is just the same. May babalik. Pero, kung wala pong nakukuhanan at nare-resolve na po yun ni General De La Rosa and our colleagues, mami-minimize, ma-answer. But the point is, just like the law of supply and demand, pag mas mahirap po ang pagkuha o pagkuha ng supply, tataas po ang presyo. Ganun po, it's still economics. So it's a whole gamut of factors. So it has to be a community-based, wholesome, whole country participation. Also, yung po sa medical side po kasi nandyan po kami. We're here to help to cure Senator Ontiveros as our health leader in the Senate. We could, but it has to be a concerted, like for example, after ng rehabilitation, saan sila pupunta, we have to coordinate with TESDA, yung availability of skills development, yung may babalikan sila. Tapos, nandiyan po ang binanggit po ni Secretary Vasco, yung pong babalikan to the po ng plantations, kung nandiyan po ang Department of Agriculture, pagbibigay ng agricultural skills, for nation building din, productivity. Marami pong factors. But it's good that ako po, I've been here as an assistant secretary for almost 12, going 13 years as an assistant secretary. I have been within this program, but kakaiba po ngayon. We call it as a influx. Ngayon lang po nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na the surrenderers are coming in by the thousands. Kaya yung pong ating mga rehab centers, punong-puno po at wala pong paglagyan. Kaya nga po, we devised a way that it will be a community-based na ang providing po ay of course with the PNP. Yung providing ng data. So, doon po nag-uumpisa. Na-identify po and then from that providing, malalaman ang kanilang supplier, malalaman yung kanilang it's a process po.
Secretary Elmer.
Opo.
Mr. Chairman,
Sorry
I
po.
ask permission from Senator Nancy, no? By the way.
Opo.
I'm glad you brought up the qualitative aspect. So two things come to mind immediately. One is yung sinabi rin ninyo, yung coordinating mechanism.
Yes.
Second is the information management system.
Opo.
That should be a function of coordination.
Yes.
Because the question, nagbulungan kami kanina ng ating chairman, no? What do we do with these thousands of human beings? We watch the president on television. He's now considering placing some of them in military camps. And we could empathize with the agony. And when our president is worried, everybody should start worrying. So my point really, no, and I'm glad you brought that up because every time, Secretary Pipes, no, every time we ask for data, you give us numbers. That's the quantitative dimension. What we want to know is where these people are, how they are. Hindi yung how many, no? How they are. Are they still alive? Are they beyond redemption? Dahil sabi ng, we're getting these figures that after 1 year of use of Shabu, that's crossover point. Wala na. So what do we do with these human beings? Most of them young human beings. But I had to interject because this is an important point that you raised, which underscores the need for coordination and information management. No? The timely, accurate, and complete information that will allow us to make rational, no, intelligent, informed, long-term policy decisions. I just want to put that on the table. Sorry for interrupting.
Thank you very much for the interruption.
Thank you, Senator Nancy.
Mr. Senator. Just to continue po on that point, in response to your, the local government units are in full coordination with our cluster, together with Secretary Sueño and Secretary Vasco. Yun po ang aming topic noon. But recently, just yesterday, we had a call from the Office of the President, and we had a meeting with regards to that building of a mega TRC that will be built in Nueva Ecija, in Camp Magsaysay. That is not for a long period of time. This is just an immediate response. So now we'll be set of a lot of things. We have to provide the employee complements, specialists, doctors. Of course, there will be infra. Pagtatawian po nito. So we just came up with Colonel Ruiz of the Philippine Army with regards to the response nga of that you mentioned of building a mega TRCs. But of course, it would have to follow the requirements, but we will fast track as an initial response, Madam Senator, Mr. Senator.
Asek Punsalan, kanina ko nabanggit nyo na you've been with the DOH for the past 12 or 13 years. Pwede ho kaya kayong mag-submit ng position paper on yung where we are in terms of rehabilitation. And baka pwede the way it's presented is not just by numbers, but there's a human face to rehabilitation. Hindi lang ho X number yung na-rehabilitate, X number bumalik, but yung ano talaga yung nangyayari sa kanila, yung sistema ba ho, tama, may pagkukulang ho ba? Qualitative ho and not more than quantity. Kasi sa dyaryo, lagi natin narinig, 600, 1,000, but may mukha tong numero na to, and I sense from your answers, kayo ho yung may experience with them since you've been there for the past 12, 13 years.
We have the
Can you
data.
do it in 3 days? Asek?
Best efforts po.
Hindi ba sa report? You tell me if you can do it
submission of the
or
report?
can you do it or can you not do it? Hindi yung best efforts. Malabo yung best efforts, hindi makakarating yan.
Ay, makakarating po. Pagka po
So how many days? How many
Opo.
days?
3 days po.
Okay, thank you,
report.
thank you. That's all.
In fact, it's ready po. We have the data. Ang ano nga lang po ngayon is the different mode of pagdating. Mabilisan po ngayon ang pag-search po ang nangyari. But the data of the rehabilitation centers are intact and I could give it to you even later po. They're ready.
So, share last question na lang po. Siguro sa PhilHealth, may existing program pa tayo ngayon for drug dependence? Kasi isa ho dun sa final ni Senator Soto is, I think to make it mandatory.
Meron po kami mga existing benefits that drug dependents can avail of, and these are costed. This belong to the regular PhilHealth benefits, all cases, what we call all case rates policy, and some of these benefits are in the amount of 6,400, some in 6,700, and some in 7,800. So this address some of the problems of the drug dependence, acute problems.
And what is your position in sa bill filed by Senator Soto?
Your Honor, we fully support the bill, the proposed revision of the PhilHealth law, incorporating drug rehabilitation treatment as part of the benefit package of PhilHealth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Ontiveros is recognized. After Senator Ontiveros, Senator Laila. And then, I'd like to acknowledge pala Senator Gordon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At magandang umaga po sa lahat ng ating mga resource persons. Pero pasensya, special mention sa mista ng late husband ko na naging PNP officer din. And my friend, hindi ko siya matawag na bato kasi we always call him Doroy, Chief PNP De La Rosa. At ganon din kina Director Odi, Director Ruel, Director Picoy, Director Ed, mga mista rin at opo, mga mista rin, kaibigan din po. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Dun po sa Senate Bill number 3, siguro just 3 also very quick comments, pati dun sa itinanong ni Senator Grace kanina. Kasi gaya ng guidance din ni Chairman, gusto kong dumiretso sa Senate Bill 8 at saka yung resolution na mas may kinalaman din sa health at saka youth and education aspects ng topics natin ngayong umaga. So doon po sa amendment ng Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act at creation ng Presidential Anti-Drug Authority, yung 2 quick comments ko po ay, Mr. Chairman, it's unclear how the creation of this BRADA will bolster the country's response to drugs. Most of the bureaus do not appear to add anything to the response beyond coordination, which can already be accomplished by enhancing the current board. So ako po, Mr. Chairman, ayoko pang mag-give up sa current organizational setup under Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act. Pero gusto ko pang tignan, posible pa ba at paano pa ba i-maximize yung actual na operationalization nila at saka effective response dito sa concern natin sa illegal drugs and trafficking. And pangalawa, Mr. Chairman, there could even be an issue of hierarchy for a bureau headed by an undersecretary to supervise and sanction departments headed by secretary. So just to put that on record, Mr. Chairman. And my last comment po for now dito sa Senate Bill number 3, something po na tinulungan tayo ni Senator Grace i-point out doon sa interpellation nila kay Director General. Tungkol po dun sa internal affairs system. Napagkasunduan nga po nilang dalawa, Mr. Chairman, na in fact, yes, the law provides that a civilian should head the IAS at sa ngayon hindi pa yun po ang isinasagawa. Gusto ko lang pong paalalahanan si Chief PNP na kapag po sinunod na yung batas na iyan, it would not become External Affairs Service kasi naalala ko rin po ang original na pangarap ng PNP, it is our national police, national in scope, civilian in character. So pareho pong kalikasan ng buong PNP at yung mamumuno sa IAS. So those are my initial 3 quick points. Also pala Mr. Chair na yung isang concern po na pick up ko po ngayong umaga dun sa latest inquirer list. In fact, meron po tayong mga kababayan na nag-submit, nag-voluntarily submit sa pamamagitan ng Oplan Tokhang, pero they ended up na patay. So ito po isang concern po natin. So moving on, Mr. Chairman, dun sa dalawang mas health-related na agenda natin ngayong umaga, yung Senate Bill number 8, providing for affordable drug rehabilitation treatment for PhilHealth beneficiaries. Further amending din naman po yung, so further amending RA 78, 75, opo. So, yung mga points na gusto kong i-contribute sa discussion would include the bill would make drug rehabilitation treatment available to all PhilHealth beneficiaries and signal a public health approach in the war against drugs. Kaya Mr. Chairman, na-appreciate ko po yung point ni Sec. Rojas kanina na aside from being a law enforcement, criminal justice concern, yung concern natin sa illegal drugs at trafficking is also a social concern and a health concern. And for that reason, Mr. Chairman, gusto ko pong i-commend ang Senate Bill number 8 for recognizing that drug use and drug dependence is a public health issue. At maraming salamat kay Asik Punsalan for going into detail on that. Mr. Chairman, we need to shift the focus of this war on drugs from punishment to treatment. At kaya na-appreciate ko po yung ating Committee on Rules secondarily referred itong Senate Bill number 8 sa amin ni Sen. Greg na Committee on Health and Demography. So, further, Mr. Chairman, nasabi na rin po ng mga PhilHealth officials natin, of course, primarily si Chairwoman Secretary of Health Pauline Ubial at pati si dating Chief Executive Officer Alex Padilla na in response po dito sa ating bill, PhilHealth funds are not enough to cover, ito po yung initial assessment nila, not enough to cover the costs of rehabilitation for drug dependents, lalo na po yung prolonged residential services. Ang ating pong Department of Health, Mr. Chairman, already recommended a more cost-effective program, including po counseling, psychosocial support, a 2-week drug rehabilitation program in acute cases or in the acute phase, at saka training of local physicians to evaluate drug dependence and categorize, yung classification na sinabi po ni Asek Punsalan, categorize them properly for appropriate intervention. So maganda rin po yung pagbibigay diin nila, Mr. Chairman, sa local physicians kasi po talagang yung pillar ng health service providers sa isang pangarap nating universal healthcare system is very relevant kahit po dito sa ating problema sa illegal drugs and trafficking. Further, Mr. Chairman, pursuant to its mandate and in consideration of its actuarial limitation, at ito po lagi pong binabantayan ng PhilHealth bilang po isang GOCC, PhilHealth officials committed to come out with an extended, kasi po sa ngayon ang mairekomenda ng DOH 2 weeks sa acute phase, but PhilHealth committed to come out with an extended benefit package to respond to the magnitude of the drug problem. And last comment on this before I go to a few questions on the bill, yung PhilHealth Board, led by Secretary Pauline and Acting CEO Buddy Aristosa, is studying and considering the following benefit packages dun po sa case rate na sinabi po ni Dr. Soria. Following benefit packages for drug dependents. Case rates on mental and physical abuse of different substances, accreditation of drug rehabilitation and treatment centers for drug dependents, coverage for hospital, facility, and physicians or psychiatrists' fees na ma-cover din po, Mr. Chairman, sa case rate and inclusive or multi-tier case rates based on the classification na sinabi ni Asik Punsalan, classification of the drug dependents and phases of rehabilitation. I have just 4 questions, Mr. Chairman, sa ating pong resource persons, lalo na po sa DOH at PhilHealth about Senate Bill number 8. At I will be asking them, Mr. Chairman, sa konteksto ng isang framework na gusto ko sanang idagdag sa ating heavily law enforcement approach sa drugs issue. So mas yung public health perspective, yung lente po ng tinatawag in 90 countries already using these strategies, yung lente po ng harm reduction strategies. So unang tanong po, Mr. Chairman, can the current, whether po maybe si Asik Punsalan at si Director Soria, can the current bill, the current provisions of Senate Bill 8 be expanded to cover outpatient treatment and community-based treatment, sige, kay Asik Punsalan, currently being developed by the Department of Health?
Madam Senator, yes po. In fact, we are already drafting in coordination with your and report to your office, being the head Senate head on health. We have already responded to your call, and it is doable, and we are in response to your query. And I think also Dr. Pons here is also aware of that. Also, although the limitation as of now is the fact that yung po kasing rehabilitation patients, ang PhilHealth po kasi is more of dun sa detoxification phase nga lang. Hopefully, we could expand it more so that it will be more responsive. Plus, yung pong aftercare. Kasi po, kung iti-take mo yung treatment period as by the Honorable Senator Lacson, kung gaano katagal po, mauubos po yung ating actuarial funds. Kaya, we have devised a way. And in fact, just for ano po, and you know this, Madam Senator, is also the response of the corporate social responsibility in addition to the present budget. Kasi budgetary need po, talagang hindi po tatagal yung actuarial ano natin. But with the response to the call, ang ating pong mga malalaking korporasyon could enable or facilitate some more fundings para po dito sa drug rehabilitation program po natin. Thank you.
Salamat, Mr. Chairman, dun sa shout-out, kumbaga, ni Asik Punsalan sa ating private sector din. Para gaya ni sinabi rin ng isang resource person natin, maging holistic yung approach. Baka po yung aking dating colleague sa PhilHealth ay meron din gustong idagdag sa tanong ko po ito.
Madam Senator, we're closely coordinating with the Department of Health on this issue, on the measures that we will take as far as addressing the drug problem is concerned. It's the question kasi, ma'am, of who should do what. So whatever the DOH will pass on to PhilHealth for coverage as far as benefit is concerned, then we will take charge of that. And the Secretary of YAL has signified her intent for PhilHealth to focus on personal services and for DOH to focus on the public health side. And we will closely coordinate with DOH in making that concrete, that commitment of the Secretary concrete as far as the drug problem is concerned.
Salamat po, Dr. Pons. Next question, Mr. Chairman, and it really goes into rehabilitation and harm reduction. So, yung harm reduction po na hindi lang siya articulated sa ating Dangerous Drugs Act, for example, but which I will also try to introduce. Dahil, in fact, meron ng provisions doon na are of the nature of harm reduction, lalo na po yung preventive, yung education na sinabi ni Chairperson Aiza kanina. So, expanding coverage to people who use but aren't yet dependent. So may ganong classification. They use, but they're not yet dependent. Could be important as a preventive measure to keep their drug use from getting worse. and is much more cost efficient than treating dependents later on. So dito po, Mr. Chairman, ang pinopointed ko, it's important to consider that there are people who use drugs who are experiencing problems, for example, work-related, relationships, etc., who need or want to seek help or treatment, but who are not diagnosed as dependent, at least not yet. So sa ganyan pong, kung mahuli natin sila, I don't mean huli as in arresto, but kung makatch natin sila at that point in their life, anong mga, if I could already start to use the term harm reduction, ano yung mga harm reduction strategies na aware na ang DOH, na gusto nyong to bring to the attention of the committee na magandang mas i-consider namin dito sa Senate Bill number 8.
Madam Senator, we have that program po in place. Ang ano lang po natin kasi, this is more of mental health na rin.
Yes.
It is aggravated by emotional conditions, problem situations, and depression.
Yes.
That is why they resort to taking in, not with the intent of being really magiging addicted sila, but in response to the present need like depression or falling in love na hindi nagustuhan, ng nililigawan, mga gano'n. So, and then they resort to when they go to parties and all this, that's why the youth dito po are also highly affected. So, in the form of parang preventive aspect, i-consider po natin yung as a part of the mental health program po natin, which is actually integrated. And we have our hospitals also having the Department of Psychiatry and mental health programs enhanced as of this time, Madam Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And in fact, when I was on the PhilHealth board, PhilHealth had already begun way back in late 2014 to start to develop, for example, mental health benefit packages. And salamat sa pagbanggit nyo, ASEC Punsalan, tungkol sa mga comorbidities of drug dependence, kasi they point out other public health concerns of people who use drugs to different degrees, no? Yung TB, pati po yung HIV. So kahit po yung ating response sa HIV and AIDS, may implikasyon po itong paano ba natin i-conduct o di i-conduct yung ating anti-drugs campaign. Yung next question po, Mr. Chairman, particular for PhilHealth, pero dito pa rin po sa Senate Bill number 8, and in relation dun sa relapse cases na nabanggit na rin ni ASEC Punsalan kanina, how do you anticipate na PhilHealth coverage be applied to people charged under RA 9165? Kasi the first offense for the use of drugs, offenders are caught, then diverted to treatment. Can this criminal justice health intervention be charged to PhilHealth? Or final na po yung parang division of labor nyo sa DOH na personal services tayo sa PhilHealth, public health ang sa DOH? Dr. Pons.
Madam Senator, the bottom line as far as coordination with DOH is concerned is the PhilHealth efforts will complement the DOH efforts. So I think we'll be, although I think PhilHealth will be more involved on the personal care level and DOH on the public health aspect. But as I said earlier, the details will be worked out very soon. And actually, it's already being worked out. It's ongoing.
So thank you.
Madam Senator,
yes,
can I add?
Secretary.
You know for a fact that the chairman of the board of PhilHealth is the Secretary of Health. That is why, as Dr. Pons has mentioned, definitely it is also under the arm of the Department of Health. And PhilHealth actually is an attached GOCC agency of the Department of Health and PhilHealth. So related. In fact, I am also the head of the Committee on Accreditation, working with PhilHealth and working with you. So there is that symbiotic relationship. So it is actually even taken up in the board, the PhilHealth concerns, by in the ExCom of the Department of Health. Thank you po.
Salamat, ASEC Punsalan. And I'm sure our lead chairman of the lead committee on this inquiry, and together with my committee on health and demography, we will eagerly await the details yung wina-work out nyo yung sinabi ni Dr. Pons. Mr. Chairman, I will skip questioning for today, Senate Bills 21 and 48 for future hearings, to go straight and last to the proposed Senate Resolution 19, directing an inquiry in aid of legislation on effective drug prevention and intervention for the youth. And here I am sure that the Chairperson Aisa will be one of the most helpful among our resource persons. I'd just like to point out, Mr. Chairman, that according to one news report, the Mandaluyong LGU in 2015 conducted raids in two so-called open parties, reportedly offering sex, drugs, and alcohol, resulting in the arrest of 146 persons, of which 80, more than half, were minors, and 52 of them between 11 to 15 years old. So what are kids this young doing in such parties? And in a recent event, 5 young people died due to drug overdose. According to a study, street children were nearly 3 times more likely to use illegal drugs, almost 9 times more likely to use inhalants. So also, Mr. Chairman, pointing out not just the public health aspect of our drugs concerns, not just the law enforcement aspects, but really the poverty, which I would still argue, kahit po sa ating highly charged law enforcement-centric situation ngayon, palagay ko po, Mr. Chairman, yung kahirapan pa rin, pinakamatinding problema, in fact, creates the atmosphere for our drugs problems also, our drugs concerns. According to statistics released by the DDB, for 2014 naman po, Mr. Chairman, 8% of total reported cases from residential and outpatient facilities were out-of-school youth. Kaya sinishare ko po, Mr. Chairman, yung concern ni Chairperson Aisa para dun sa ating community youth, lalo na po out-of-school. 4% of these recorded by DDB 2014 were students, and the youngest reported case involved a 9-year-old patient. Studies have shown, Mr. Chairman, that, ito po gusto kong bigyang din ulit yung harm reduction strategies na pang-balanse dun sa ating law enforcement strategy. Studies have shown that the global war on drugs pursued by some countries, characterized by a mainly punitive approach towards those who supply and use drugs, has not only failed to end drug use among young populations, so focus pa rin sa youth, but has also brought more harm. Sa halip na harm reduction, it's brought more harm to the youth by raising the health risks of drug use, yung comorbidities na sinabi ni Asik Punsalan, restricting young people's access to effective services. Kung may isang kabataan, meron na siyang drug problem, baka matakot siyang lumapit sa kanyang Department of Health kasi highly criminalized din yung atmosphere. Reducing access to essential medicines, undermining children's rights, further destroying families. Nakaka-destroy na yung poverty, nakaka-destroy na yung drug dependence, makaka-destroy lalo yung heavily punitive approach, destroying families, fueling crime and violence. So yung irony, Mr. Chairman, na we are addressing drug-related crimes, pero pag heavily punitive ang approach natin, the irony, nag-fuel pa ng further crime and violence. It even sa documentation po sa ibang mga bansa, pati sa selected states sa US, it even fuels more violence against the police forces pag overly heavy sa punitive ang approach natin, and then creating new dangers. Ang tanong ko po sana kay Chairwoman Aisa, Chairperson Aisa, dahil po yung line of pero I heard hindi pa po kayo misis. So Chairperson Aisa, yung isang line of thinking ko po sa ngayon, itong regarding drug testing, meron po kasing argument na it's not effective in deterring drug use. I'd like to seek your wisdom on that. Research has found that there's no significant difference in marijuana use or the use of other illicit drugs, whether or not the school has drug testing of any kind, drug testing of students based on cause or suspicion, pati po drug testing of athletes. At baka si Kauban, Senator Manny would also have some thoughts on this. Pero Chairperson Aisa, ano po yung balak sa ngayon ng ating NYC in terms of drug testing in schools or not?
Ma'am Senator, well, since it's only my third day sa pagtatrabaho, ito po about regarding the issue of drug testing in schools, no? Yun po yung dapat pa namin sa mga kailangan pag-usapan. But personal opinion na lang po. Meron po akong kaibigan na isa po siyang magulang. And ang eskwelahan nila ay isa sa mga natukahan ng mga drug testing na yan. And nakakagulat because lumabas dun sa eskwelahan na yun na mayroong drug dependent na tayo kabataan na nasa mga as young as 11, 12 years old. So I think ang ginagawa po nito, sa opinion ko ma'am, it's not the opinion of the Commission and the NYC, is awareness sa mga magulang din. Kasi alam po natin na isa man po sa mga rason ng drug dependency ay ang kahirapan, malaking bagay din po siya ng parenting. And siguro po para po dun sa mga magulang na of course, mahirap ang buhay ngayon, kailangan nila magtrabaho, at least aware sila na, teka, may ganito tayong problema. We have to do something about it. Siguro ma'am, ang is just to make guidelines, just to be sure na kumbaga hindi sila mapapahiya, masigurado pa rin na anonymous, para lang hindi magkaroon ng impact din naman sa kanila. Pero ma'am, may touch on the subject also. Kasi po, nabanggit ko kanina about the parties, no? And another friend, hindi pa po ako nakaupo dito sa NYC, na nabanggit niya po sa akin because sabi niya gusto niya na idulog ko sana sa PIDEA. Ngayon po, isa sa mga nagiging gateway ng mga ganyan ay ang mga apps, no? Yung mga date apps, kagaya ng mga Grindr, Tinder, mga ganyan mga bagay. So, may tinatawag po silang chemsex. At ito pong chemsex na to, ang ginagawa ko ay, wala po kasi ako sa Grindr for obvious reasons. Pero, I think ang ginagawa ko rito ay, meron sila tinatawag na sorceress. Okay, ang sorceress, ito yung source nila ng mga drugs, and pupunta sila sa party, sa mga party na sa bahay ng kung sino, or probably a hotel or a motel, and they use drugs and then engage in sex. So it's actually, I think isa rin po ito sa, I know it's medyo malayo na, pero isa rin ito sa mga rason ng pagtaas ng ating problema naman sa HIV also. So yun din po sana matugunan natin. Kasi in terms of the youth, ma'am, we cannot really solve the youth problem if we don't speak their language. So it's very important na talaga po na sa bawat area ng ating mga ahensya, ng mga department sa gobyerno, talagang mapakinggan po kami because we speak the youth's language, and we will always make sure that we have policies to help you in terms of solving this problem. Thank you.
Senator Risa, with all due respect, kindly wrap up. I had intended initially to terminate, suspend, or adjourn this hearing at 12, but we still have 3 of our colleagues who have yet to ask questions. So anyway, we can tackle other issues during the next hearing. Most of our resource persons are very busy people. So, and we're happy that they're here. We're thankful. So kindly wrap up.
Will do, Mr. Chairman. Salamat po. So, yung last 3 questions ko, isang ko na lang, tas kahit babaon na lang kay Chairperson Aiza, even if you could respond to the committee in a future hearing. Pero para lang ma-put on record ko sa lahat ng mga kapo-senador and our resource persons. So, dito pa rin sa drug testing, meron din pong argument na it's not cost-effective. In 2009, it was reported that it would take the Philippines 4 years and 25 million pesos to conduct nationwide drug testing. And even then, the results would only be limited to shabu and marijuana. Second to the last, there may argument na drug testing promotes riskier drug test-taking behavior. So another irony, the knowledge of a forthcoming drug test, well, kung alam nila, only encourages the use of substances that are detectable for short periods rather than substances that stay longer, and could also encourage binge drinking. And I share pala yung concern, Mr. Chairman, ni Chairperson Aiza about parenting. Definitely, first line of defense. And last question or point na gusto kong iiwan kay Chairperson Aiza for her and her Commission's input in a future hearing, yung sinabi rin po ni na Aseng Punsala na stigmatizing. Drug testing, doon na nga, kung mishandled, lalo na sa mga youth, becomes tantamount to a witch hunt, implying that the student is guilty until proven innocent. Add to this the stigma brought by suspension or expulsion, possibly, and the stigma and even danger of being sent to rehab for a positive test, which could further exacerbate the reasons why a student uses drugs and could push them to riskier behavior. So last comment na lang po, Mr. Chairman, with thanks to all our resource persons, especially from the PNP and the NYC, and of course DOH and my favorite PhilHealth. I'd just like to reiterate, Mr. Chairman, that yes, drug use and drug dependence is a public health issue, and we need, Mr. Chairman, to shift the focus of this war on drugs from punishment to treatment. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman, at sa lahat.
Thank you, Senator Risa. Senator Laila is recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman, at magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat muli, my dear colleagues and also our resource speakers. Dahil sa reminder ng ating chair na medyo pusta tayo sa oras, marami po sana akong punto na dapat talakayin, particularly the specific nuances sa bills. But I realize that perhaps the discussion of the nuances of the pending bills can be deferred to future proceedings of this committee at the committee level or even at a plenary. Pero sa ngayon po, I just want to take advantage also of the presence of our resource speakers. Wala ko ditong kadeba-debate tungkol sa problema ng droga. Wala akong nagdedebate sa ating mga otoridad na ganun na kalala ang problema sa droga. And therefore, there is an urgency and imperative need to address the drug menace in this country. Unang punto po, and I'm not sure who's going to answer this, perhaps si Director General De La Rosa po pwedeng sumagot. Alam niyo po, madalas natin na naririnig mga ilang personalidad at kahit nga ho sa mga interview rin ko rin po sa media na para bang ang sinisisi ng buong problema ngayon sa droga, yung paglalak ng problema sa droga ay yung alleged kapabayaan ng dating administrasyon. Yan po ba ang tunay na sentimiento ng ating mga law enforcement agencies? Kasi alam ko naman po na lahat kayo, karamihan sa inyo ay nandyan na sa sarili-sarili niyong opisina o institusyon. Yan po ba ang impression, ang sentimiento ng current dispensation na walang ginawa at naging pabaya ang dating administrasyon? I just feel the need to raise this matter kasi alam niyo naman po lahat na kasama ako sa dating administrasyon. Ganun po ba yun, Director De La Rosa?
Your Honor, actually the primary reason why nagkaganito ito lahat, hindi ko masabi na nagpabaya yung previous administration. But this I can tell you frankly, honestly, with all honesty, na nagkaganito ito ngayon dahil the police feels emboldened to do their job. We are more encouraged, we are more motivated to do our job because we have a president that is determined to stop the drug menace. Kaya po, na-unearth po ito lahat ngayon, nagkaalaman na ganito na pala kalala ang sitwasyon ng droga nang nagtrabaho na ng gusto ang polis. Hindi po naman sinasabi, I myself is a part of the previous administration dahil polis na ako. Noong panahon ninyo, sasabi mo, polis na ako noon, alam ko, nag-operate rin ako ng drugs, but hindi po ganun ka masigasig yung ginagawa namin dahil in the police parlance, we call it buntot mo, hila mo. Ikaw, polis ka noon, magpahiro-hiro ka, mag-operate ka, nabangga mo yung sindikato, ang drug lord pala, yung gobernador, yung mayor, then relief ka, isang tawag lang sa Malacanang. Eh, lalo na kung kapartido ng nasa Malacanang yung alaga niya yung mayor.
Excuse lang po, General De La Rosa, dyan po ako medyo nababahala, katulad yan. I mean, you were again, I appreciate the candor and your very frank manner of expressing your thoughts. Katulad na naman yan, isang tawag lang sa palasyo at clear na yung kung sino man yan. So hindi mo pa dapat, my point ho dito is that, kasi nga, several naman po ang mga relevant agencies or several naman po ang mga law enforcement authorities natin. Gusto ko pong malaman kung pagpasok po ninyo, pagpasok nitong bagong administrasyon na ito, humingi ho ba kayo ng talagang mga comprehensive accomplishment reports na nanggagaling sa iba-ibang ahensya? Katulad ng NBI, katulad ng PIDEA, katulad ng Anti-Drug Unit of PNP, ng PAO, alam niyo yung PAO, ano? Presidential Anti-Organized Crime, dyan sa kanilang anti-drug campaign din nung nakaraang administrasyon. Kumuha po kayo ng comprehensive report para makita naman po ng ating mga kababayan na marami naman po mga ginawa. Yang mga ahensya na yan, in terms of investigations, in terms of filing cases, in terms of conducting operations, and also in terms of prosecuting. Although, meron po akong itatanong din mamaya sa mga representative from the DOJ. Di ko ba ganon? Ako po mismo, as a former SOJ, alam ko po mismo yung mga operations na ginagawa ng NBI. Marami rin po silang mga operations noon. Hindi lang po siguro masyadong napapabalita. So did you ever ask for comprehensive accomplishment reports from all of these agencies when you took over, or this administration took over?
Your Honor, honestly, hindi po ako humingi dahil that is beyond my concern already. Tapos na po yun. Ang inaharap ko ngayon, yung present problema na kinakarap ko, napakalaki yung problema po inaharap ko ngayon. Bakit pa ako magdidig ng previous records na ang dami kong problema, hindi na ako makatulog, Your Honor. So, 2 hours lang po, tulog ko, 4 hours dahil sa problema ng droga. And yun po, mag-imbestiga ko sa nangyari before. Anyway, inasabi ko lang po ito na ganito po, dahil that's coming from the PO1 on the ground, yung mga polis naman sa baba. Pag nag-iikot ako sabihin ng mga polis, sir, salamat po sir, ngayon talaga magtatrabaho na kami dahil may presidente tayo na talagang binapakapan tayo. Kaya ganoon lang po nakikita natin, naglabasan na lahat.
Wala pong duda doon, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Dahil nga sa talagang very focused attention of this administration, it seems to be the singular focus, especially of the President now, to battle or to end the drug menace. Kaya nga ho, lahat ito nauungkat na at ganyan ho ang nangyayari. Kasi compared nga po to the previous administration, hindi naman po kasi ganon yung naging thrust ng administrasyon. Na ang dami naman po talaga mga areas of governance na dapat i-address yung dating administrasyon na hindi naman talaga total focus dyan sa problema ng droga. Pero hindi naman po siguro pwedeng sabihin na nagpabaya o walang ginawa yung dating administrasyon. Di ho ba?
I agree with you, Your Honor. Marami po kayong ginawa, no?
Kasi ngayon, sa singular focus nga ho, sa sobra talaga na passionate na pagtrabaho ninyo, kasama po ang Pangulo, ay ganyan na nga ho ang nangyayari na marami na ho tayong naaalungkat, marami ho tayong nahuhuli, may mga namamatay, but that is another matter. And the difference lang ho kasi with the previous administration, ganun nga ho, wala hong nangyayaring patayan noon na ganyan araw-araw. Wala rin ho yung mga naming and shaming na yan ng dating administrasyon. Yun po ang malaki siguro na diferensya. Pero ang susunod itatanong, pero you don't have to answer it now, it's just a food for thought. Tama ho ba yung approach na yan o yung strategy na yan, yung violent, the so-called violent war against drugs? Pag-uusapan po natin yan sa Lunes. Na-receive nyo na ho ba yung notice nyo?
Yes, Your Honor.
Dadating ho ba kayo?
I would be very happy to face you on Monday, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next point. Okay. Gusto ko sanang tanungin ang bawat agencies tungkol sa mga nagawa nila pero wala ho tayong oras ngayon. Meron lang ho akong tatanungin na isa. I'd like to take advantage of the representatives from the DOJ. Dahil alam niyo po, madalas hong sisihin dyan sa problema ng droga, yung prosecution, yung mga prosecutors. Yes, we admit mababa ho ang conviction rate noon at siguro hanggang ngayon. So I'd like to give, only very briefly, opportunity for DOJ. I think we can ask, is it Senior Deputy State Prosecutor Richard Padulyon? Because, you know, Yusek Erickson is just new. So si Senior Deputy is one of our most competent prosecutors in the DOJ. Now, alam ko po, based on first-hand knowledge, na maraming challenges and problema ang ating prosecution. Now, we will ask you to submit a document detailing, outlining exactly those challenges which beset the prosecution kung bakit mababa ang conviction rate pagdating sa drugs. But for the benefit of my colleagues, can you at least cite a few major challenges?
Thank you, Madam Senator. Morning, Mr. Chairman. Well, first of all, one of the major concerns one of the major challenges that the National Prosecution Service encounters in the handling of drug cases are the shortcuts which are adopted by law enforcement usually in the gathering of evidence. You know, the prosecutors are only as good as the evidence that it is presented to it or submitted to it. So we cannot manufacture evidence. We can only go by the evidence that is submitted to us by the law enforcement. And certainly there are instances when there are provisions of Republic Act 9165 which are very stringent, and to which the courts are very strict, which are constantly being violated. I would like to point out violations of Section 21 of RA 9165 on the matter of chain of custody, the matter of inventory. And this is just one of the major reasons why you have a lot of dismissals, you have a lot of acquittals. The other things would be the shortcuts which are adopted, let's say, in the process of applying for and implementing search warrants. So, in the course of the service of the search warrants, there are certain requirements which are not complied with, and this results to the quashal of the search warrant, and the quashal would mean that there is no, we don't have any strong evidence anymore because the effects, the items, the illegal drugs, paraphernalia, the precursors which are seized can no longer be admitted in evidence. These are among the few reasons, the legal reasons that the legal challenges that we face. Apart from the fact, Madam Senator, that you're also aware that we have a shortage of prosecutors. If we notice, the raids that have been conducted recently focused on the National Capital Region, Regions 3 and Regions 4. We have a shortage of prosecutors in Regions 3 and Regions 4 for the simple reason that probably private practice is very lucrative and very few people would like to venture and join government service. So the tendency is these regions become dependent also on the available resources that they have. If not, probably they will have to be augmented by the task force. And I guess at the end of the day, we would like to point out also that while we face these challenges, we do not allow these challenges to get the best of us. We have worked and we will continue to work closely with the PIDEA, with the Philippine National Police and the NBI and all other drug enforcement agencies to make sure that we can at least improve the manner by which evidence is collected so that we can ensure that we have a higher success rate in our prosecution.
Thank you, SDSP.
With the permission of the Senator. You failed to mention, but I guess one of the factors is corruption in the prosecution service also a reason for the low conviction rate? Very honestly.
Well, sir, I'll be very candid with you, Mr. Chairman. I will not discount the fact that there may be and there will be bad eggs in every institution, and that will not exclude the National Prosecution Service, sir.
Thank you. Again, because of time constraints, I was just asking you about, the top of mind thoughts about the challenges besetting. But can we ask you to submit to this committee a paper outlining all the challenges that beset the National Prosecution Service? And I was about to actually state that, Mr. Chair, that we're not saying here, and even SDSP Richard here is not saying that the National Prosecution Service is completely faultless. I'm aware of that there are really bad eggs or misfits also within the National Prosecution Service. Ang pinakaklarado ho kasing obserbasyon is that kapag may mga nadidismiss na mga kaso na droga, ay nagtuturuan palagi ang prosecutors tsaka yung mga investigador. So minsan ho, even at my level, hindi ko na ho alam kung sino ang sinisisi o dapat sisihin. So ang ginagawa ko na lang po noon, I just do it on a case-to-case basis, tinitingnan ko na lang saan pwede o sino dito ang may kasalanan o nagkulang kaya it led to the dismissal of the cases or the acquittal of the accused in the drug cases. Let me get to the next point. Let me go to the next point. Naobserbahan ko rin po noon na sa pag-handle ng mga kaso, halos lahat ng mga high-profile cases, and including drug cases, ay nandyan po ang parang the hesitance, the natural reluctance to share intel reports with each other. Lahat naman ho ata ng law enforcement authorities may kanya-kanyang intel units, whether it is embedded within the anti-drug unit itself of that particular agency or isang general intel unit ng ahensya na yan. Isa po yan sa very clear na naobserbahan natin na nagkakaselosan by withholding intel reports. There is this turf war always, and inter-agency jealousy to the extent na pahirapan kapag nag-exchange o kailangan mag-exchange ng intel reports. Ang tanong po ngayon sa pamunuan ng PNP at sa iba rin, meron na po ba kayong ginagawa para i-address yung problema na yun? Kasi malaking bagay po ang intel reports.
Your Honor, every Friday po, meron kaming oversight committee composed of PNP, NBI, PDEA, Dangerous Drugs Board, at pinag-uusapan, pati AAP, Your Honor, pati AAP kasama na doon, pinag-uusapan namin yung progress ng aming anti-drug campaign at intel exchange, nandun na rin po, Your Honor. Sa ngayon po, sa panahon namin siguro, I don't think problema po yung sinasabi mo ano na yung isang agency ang sinishare niya sa kabilang agency yung basura niya. Yung kami naman, sinishare na sa amin yung basura. But now, hindi na po basura, sinishare namin, pero na po valuable pieces of information. Kami po halos isang team lang, hindi po na po inggitan sa amin, wala pong inter-agency competition, jealousy, wala na po rin.
Good to know that.
Yes,
yan po ang ginagawa nyo. Pero sana mas lalo nating ma-institutionalize yung intel sharing between and among departments. Kaya kung nga ho rinaise yan, kasi talaga naman katulad noon sa NBI, kapag may malaki silang accomplishment, imbis na matuwa yung ibang agencies, hindi ko na lang mapapangalanan kung ano yung agency or agencies na yan, na minsan they feel like slighted. I do not understand na merong malaking accomplishment ang isa ng ibang department or yung ibang agency. The next point, I'm trying to rush. Tungkol naman ho sa mga pag-address ng mga drug dependents. I was listening intently dun sa mga points ni Senator Riza, and I definitely agree that the authorities should start really looking at this whole problem as more of a public health issue rather than a law enforcement punitive matter. Now, sa tingin ko kasi, itong sitwasyon natin ngayon, itong emergency that we're now having on the drug problem is the capacity of the government to process all drug dependents who are submitting themselves to voluntary rehabilitation. Now, the problem sa tingin ko po, twofold. Una, the process of commitment, and then pangalawa, the lack of government and public rehabilitation facilities. Let's not talk here about the private rehabilitation facilities kasi nga, these are, very prohibitive ang pagpapasok sa mga private, although dapat gawan din ho ng paraan yan, maaari, through legislation. Now, gusto ko kung sino ba ang pwedeng mag-describe very briefly ng proseso of commitment into a government rehabilitation facility like Pikutan for both voluntary and non-voluntary dependents. Kasi may mga nakausap po ako ng mga kamag-anak na mga drug users, pahirapan daw palagi kapag nag-a-apply for rehabilitation. Voluntary rehabilitation. Pero dalawa nga akong klase yan. Voluntary and involuntary rehabilitation. Ano bang proseso dito? Sino ba pwedeng sumagot dito? DDB, Secretary Rojas.
Thank you, ma'am, for the question. The policy is that yung mga voluntary surrenderers, they go to our office, the DDB, or even to the Department of Health. They can be screened. Pang-screening, ma'am, kuwan lang yun, mga 11 questionnaires, check lang, of course. Then, pag nakita natin the user needs confined rehabilitation, our lawyers apply with the court for the court to issue. Yes.
So, a petition need to be filed before the court. Sino ho ang nagpa-file?
The law states that it should be the lawyers of the Dangerous Drugs Board, but we're coordinating with the Parole and Probation Office for their lawyers to help us in filing the petitions with the court.
So it's the DDB and not the PIDEA? I thought all along it's the PIDEA or the PIDEA lawyers or personnel who files these petitions in court.
We're
It's the
also being assisted by PIDEA.
Meron mo ba kayang particular unit sa PIDEA na ganun lang ang dapat gawin, yung nagpa-file ng petitions for rehabilitation or for commitment? Meron ho ba?
We don't have that unit, Your
So
Honor.
sino ba mga ginagamit nyo dyan? Yung pagpa-file, yung pagpre-prepare ng mga petitions, kasi kasama nga ho dun sa sumbong yan, na kapag pumupunta sila sa kung anumang ahensya, grabe ang pagtuturo kung saan-saan, tinuturo-turo sila kung saan-saan, hanggang napapagod sila, they have to surrender, and they have to content themselves with going straight or going to a private facility kahit hirap sila sa resources. So, para kung kasolusyon na natin.
It is DDB, Your Honor.
Ma'am, we have the 3 lawyers at DDB to file petitions in court for the issuance of the court order.
Lahat po yan, sila ang nag-handle?
Yes, ma'am, but we also have DDB.
Is that on the national scale?
That's why, ma'am, we also have
Ako lang
DDB
po?
representatives. We are coordinating with this probation board for their lawyers to assist us, especially sa countrysides, to file the petitions with the court.
Because we have to go by the premise na itong mga drug users na ito, itong mga drug dependents na ito, ay pwede pa talagang matulungan. Correct?
Yes,
But paano po natin sila matutulungan? Kung sa proseso pa lang, hirap na. Aside from, the acute lack of physical facilities.
In fact, we're proposing for the amendment to Republic Act 9165, tanggalin na po yung mga requirement, ma'am, for the court order, especially those sa voluntary drug rehabilitation. Kasi dito, ma'am, ang backlog eh.
Did you propose that already, sir?
We are proposing, ma'am, sa amendment.
Can you do that immediately so
Yes,
that we can act on it? Kasi nga, ito nga nangyayari, naggrabe ng
We have
influx.
to incorporate that when we craft the
Thank you.
on this, Madam.
Thank you. Now, doon naman po tungkol sa yung bill ngayon na itong PRADA that will take over the functions of the DDB and the PIDEA. Of course, I can discuss that with the committee itself. I have certain reservations about it. I need to really go through the nuances of this bill. Ang pinaka-concern ko po kasi yan, mukhang yung bill na yan gives BRADA bureaus supervisory authority over certain departments. So I'm worried about the possible interplay between the functions and the powers of that umbrella office directly under the office of the president with the other agencies. I'm not sure whether the bill intended the BRADA bureaus to be higher than the cabinet level departments. Yun po, although I will raise it with the sponsor of the bill.
You're a member of the committee, and we can take it up during the technical working group.
Yes.
Anyway, they shared some concerns, Senator De Lima.
Thank
The
you.
agencies or the resource persons are present here.
Thank you. Meron din po akong maraming tanong tungkol sa IAS, but because of time constraint, I will reserve my questions on Mondays and Tuesdays public inquiry. Anyway, I think IAS is also invited aside from the Director General. That's all for the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator De Lima. Senator JB, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very quickly, just a few points. I'd just like to ask from PDEA or DOH or Dangerous Drug Court. Mayroon ba kayong partnership program or agreement, no? Ang PNP, ang DJM o PDEA sa ngayon with the local government units or any other branch of government? Kasi ang worry ko, dahil siguro first time in history, ako being a former chief executive, kami rin lumaban sa drugs, but we are overwhelmed right now, no? And I would like to congratulate the PNP for its efforts. This is probably the first time that thousands, ngayon yata million na, dapat thousands are surrendering and turning themselves up voluntarily. Ang worry ko lang dito, napag-usapan kanina, narinig ko rin, I think Senator Ontiveros pointed out, that the rehab centers are not enough. Ang ating DOH are not enough to accommodate all of these surrenderies right now, lalo na mga users. So, my question is, have you coordinated in any local government units or any other entities? Because this is a problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. In fact, the role of those government agencies, departments, Your Honor, also provided in Republic Act 9165, and it is section 41 up to section 57. It pertains to the role of certain government agencies or departments, Your Honor. And as far as the local government is concerned, it is under section 51 to 53. And if I may read, Your Honor, as so provided.
Hindi na, okay lang. Basta ang gusto ko lang malaman kung, kaya ako po tinatanong, Mr. Chair, because in the ongoing war against drugs, talagang ongoing pa rin, napakarami pa rin sumusuko. And may kasabihan nga tayo, an idle mind is the workplace of the devil. At lalo na sa drug dependence, nabanggit kanina, lalo na shabu users, hindi mo na maalis sa sistema yan. At kung yung mga sumurrender ay hindi natin na-monitor, na maigi, baka babalik din yan kapag napabayaan. So yan ang talagang malaking challenge. The reason why I brought this up, because the local government units can help assist by providing probably cash forward, Mr. Chairman. Yung mga nagwawali, siguro, total, ano naman ngayon, calamity season. Ako, baka madali na naman ako sa calamity fund. But it's calamity season. I'd just like to suggest that the local government units take in some of these surrenderies. Sila lang po ang kumbaga, bigyan natin sila ng cash forward so that they would feel valuable. Kasi ngayon, ang ginagawa, meron nag-exercise, nag-monitor, pero kulang yun eh. Maraming oras pa rin ng idle. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, idle mind. Mahirap yan. Lalo na ang shabu o ano man droga, isang singhot lang, makaamoy lang yan, ako, babalik ka agad. So, would you be amenable to talk with and coordinate probably with the local government units so that they can assist you? Dahil nga yung kakulungan, na recommendation ng rehab, they can probably give program, no? Lalo na yung cash forward na sinasabi ko, baka pwedeng ibigay sa mga surrenderies. Please, Secretary Rojas.
Yes, Your Honor. We are coordinating the local government units through their drug abuse councils, and we are strengthening their capability. For example, the very active drug abuse councils in Metro Manila are San Juan, Pasig, and Marikina. So we are coordinating. There will be our point man for the surrenderies to go to. And we have drafted a policy on the process kung how we go about the surrenderies are coming to us by thousands. So we are coordinating with the local government.
Well, that's good to hear, Mr. Chairman. I'm glad, no, that you are coordinating because the local government unit is at the forefront, no? Yan ang pinakaunang first line of government agency. I don't want the efforts of the PNP and the other drug agencies, PDEA, to be wasted, no? Sayang. Alam niyo, history talaga ito, Mr. Chairman. Palagay ko sa buong history na ako'y nabubuhay ngayon lang na this is phenomenal that thousands are surrendering because sabi ko nga, Duterte chilling effect, pero kahit pa paano, napakalaking bagay, Mr. Chair. And next question, just like to ask Director General, Chief PNP, De La Rosa, doon po sa ating ongoing war against drugs, no, napansin ko lang na napakarami ang mga nahuhuli na talagang nag-ooperate ng mga talagang big-time drug laboratories ay mga foreigners, particularly mga Chinese, mga China man talaga, no, talagang hindi nag-i-English, talagang kitang-kita mo. My question is, have we or are we coordinating with other countries regarding this problem? You may or may not answer. Kung ito'y makakasagabal sa inyong operations, okay lang ho na huwag niyo sagutin.
Your Honor, we have discussed this matter with the Chief of Police of China during our ASEAN-APOL conference at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and he promised me to support their all-out support from intelligence to whatever we want. He promised us to give their full support.
Well, that's good to hear, Chief PNP. And also, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to ask you, no, magpa-budget season, because the Philippines is an archipelago, no, napakalawak ng ating coastline. It's almost physically impossible for all our authorities, the AFP, the PNP, the Coast Guard, to guard our vast coastline. Yung inyong pang maritime unit, do you have enough boats to patrol at least, no? To patrol this, patrol boats to patrol our waters to at least serve as a deterrent to these drug operators?
Kulang po, Your Honor. We are considering 7,100 islands at hindi po namin makukover. So, as much as you can give us, we will receive everything if you want to support us.
Be rest assured, Chief PNP, that in fact in the last administration, I've been also, Mr. Chairman, also former Chief PNP, it's very sad to know that until now, the Philippine National Police has no air unit to speak of. Walang lumilipad na aircraft ang Philippine National Police. At pinalagyan ko na ho ng budget last year, and I would follow that up in this coming budget season. And I hope that Senator Lacson is here. Sana matulungan niya tayo na magkaroon naman ng isang totoong air unit, because this is, hindi naman to pang BIP. I know that you need this in your operation, especially with this kind of operation na war against drugs. Hindi man pwedeng wala kayong aircraft, no, na alangan naman lahat kayo nagla-land trip. By the time umabot kayo dun sa inyong pupuntahan, nasa Batanes na o nasa Taiwan na, nasa China na yung inahabol. So, be rest assured that I'm asking para tama-tama po, Mr. Chair, while we are almost in the budget season, that we can support and help the PNP in your war against drugs. Last point, last 2 points actually. Doon po sa napansin ko, Mr. Chair, sa mga bansang tulad ng Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, China, Vietnam, Indonesia, these countries have death penalty, especially on drugs. Tayo po, inabolish natin Would you think anybody can answer? Si Chief PNP or Secretary Rojas or Director General La Peña? Anybody can answer. Do you think that this is one of the reasons that these big-time international drug syndicates are not afraid? Alam nila, hindi naman sila mamamatay. Kung sakasakali, makukulong na sila. At kung sakasakali, ang nasa isip nila, pwede naman nilang, sa dami ng pera nila, pwede sila makalaya later on. So would you think that this is a factor, yung ating wala pag-abolish ng death penalty, kaya hindi natatakot ang international drug syndicate sa atin?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that the death penalty will be a very strong deterrent in our campaign against illegal drugs.
Dahil sa napansin ko nga po, Mr. Chairman, talagang lahat, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, China, Vietnam, Indonesia, sa ASEAN, mukhang tayo na lang ang walang death penalty, kaya siguro naging hub tayo. Mukhang tayo ang ginawang hub ng international drug syndicates, precisely because there is no death penalty, na wala talaga silang takot. No? I'm not espousing, but that's another, I know it's a controversial measure, Mr. Chair, pero sa ibang usapan, just ko na malaman kung bakit naging rason, bakit naging hub ang Pilipinas. Last question po, last point, doon po sa wiretapping there, because there are two measures regarding authorizing wiretapping of communications of the editors of certain crimes. I'd just like to ask Chief PNP, what is your current surveillance process for investigating drug offenders? You may or may not answer kasi baka naman makahamper ito. O ito na lang, do you have any modern equipment that you can use for the anti-drug campaign? Or if so, kung kulang, lagi naman tayong kulang, ano po ang makailangan nyo?
Your Honor, we have a very limited technical capability. That is why tinatalo pa nga tayo sa mga drug lords sa loob ng Bilibid. Mas malakas yung kanilang signal booster kaysa ating jammer. Kaya talo tayo dyan sa mga drug lords sa loob ng Bilibid. So, if you can offer us, again, we will readily accept everything that offer.
Hindi naman po.
We support the wiretapping law, Your Honor. Yung amendment, sana para makakuha kami ng mga legal intercepts or...
So this will be very essential.
Yes,
your fight against drugs, yung equipment, yung modern surveillance equipment. So medyo kung sasabihin natin from 1 to 10, 1 to 10 yung ideal na sa tingin nyo, nasaan po tayo doon sa kagamitan natin in our war against the syndicates and drugs. Baka negative pa.
Nagkaya, huwag na lang.
Magihay ka pala. Kaya pala meron kayong... So, talaga kailangan, GPNP. You really need the support. No? So, yun na lang siguro, at least, hindi namin si Senator Lacson siguro pagtulungan na namin sa budget season na madagdagan yung inyong equipment, aside from the aircraft, yung mga surveillance equipment. Last question, other than authority for wiretapping, what else do you need to have an effective campaign against drugs? So aside from the equipment, aside from surveillance equipment, ano po yung sa tingin nyo ang kinakailangan nyo pa para sa inyo, maging mas may epektibo yung inyong campaign against drugs?
Number one, Your Honor, is yung commitment ng local government units to support our campaign. Dahil without the barangay captains, the mayors, the governors, hindi po namin kaya yung gira na ito. So we hope that, I don't know how to encourage them because every one of them has their own agenda. Merong barangay captain na nag-question sa aming Oplantokan, merong very cooperative, merong mayor na all out magsuporta, merong ding lukewarm. So I don't know how to change their attitude towards our campaign. Yan talaga the biggest challenge that we are facing right now aside from financial and logistical support. So sana LGUs will cooperate.
Thank you. Maraming salamat. Chief PNP, that's all, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Senator. Yes.
Sir, may Your Honor, may I add some of those that we need in this anti-illegal drug? Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Last but not least, Senator Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm not going to tax your patience by asking you many questions. I'm just going to ask very basic questions to all. Number one, saan ho ba galing ang drugs natin? I know it's a simple question, but saan ho ba galing ang drugs natin? Saan ho ba ang supply ng drugs na gagaling? Kasi tinatanong natin lahat, tayo may kasalanan lahat. Yung prosecution, yung police, sinisisi natin. Saan ho ba galing ang drugs?
Your Honor,
yes, sir.
Your Honor, the number one source of drugs is China, imported.
And of course, we're talking to China, sir, aren't we?
Yes, Your Honor.
And yet they're still coming in.
Yes, Your Honor, through our seaports, you know,
Yes, I know. The seaports are very porous. Our airports are very porous. In fact, yung ecstasy, yung mga drugs na, ano yan, green amore, nagagaling sa airport, nakakapasok, hindi ho ba?
Yes,
kung alam natin kung saan galing yung drugs, yung mag-shabu galing lahat sa China yan? General, galing ho ba? Parang...
So far, Your Honor, sa latest namin operations, either China, Hong Kong, or Taiwan. But,
so dapat pala ang solution dito, condemn China for bringing drugs to the Philippines. Because we've done everything here already. I'm not sure whether creating another new government agency will solve the problem unless we start, closing the spigot from China.
Yes, Your Honor. In fact, if we discover clan Shabu laboratories here in the Philippines, the technical people are coming from China.
Then we should shame China. We should shame China. They're not only taking our land, they're also bringing drugs to our country. In other words, they're committing a serious security problem for our country. If lahat lang tayo ng drugs, we'll all be drug crazed already. Is that possible, Your Honor?
Sir, it is state-sponsored act, then maybe we can share the...
And they have a death penalty too, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the death penalty has not deterred them from exporting drugs and putting in drugs in their own country. So, the problem, Your Honor, is enforcement. Bottom line, let's call a spade a spade. If drugs are coming from China, then the Foreign Affairs Department should lodge a strong protest, and the Philippine law enforcement agencies should say, the following drugs came from China, the following citizens of China have been involving themselves in drugs here in our country, and we protest, and we want the United Nations to help us quell this problem of drugs. Is that possible, Your Honor? Can you say that?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm glad you do, because I know you're a good police officer. Na hindi ka natatakot, hindi na rin kayo natutulog, no? Gusto ko makatulog ka rin. Because the same problem also is, when we start talking about it, let's now go to the effects, because a solution dito is create another agency or change the agency. Parang gawin natin federal. Parang new society. How can I have a new society with the same old faces? Di ba? Ganon rin dito. So, ang solution ko, tatanong ko sa inyo, how extensive is the drug problem? How many of our young are affected? Sinasabi nila, 3 million people in this country are affected by drugs. Is that correct? Sir, is that correct? Dapat alam niyo yung statistics.
We have 3.7 million
Filipinos are affected.
Yes.
That is about 3.7% of the population. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
And out of this, we have 1.8 million Shabu users, or 48.9.
And who are the Shabu users? Youth? Ilan ang youth doon? Anong studies niyo? Ilan ang youth? Ilan ang drivers? Ilan ang mga workers? Ilan ang mga society boys and society girls?
Sir, the profile of a drug user is that it's between...
I'm not asking for profiles. I'm asking for empirical data. Brute reality.
Well, we have 3.7 million drug
That's
users.
correct. I heard you say that. I'm sorry. I'm just... we'll have timing. I'm sorry. I'm not disrespecting you, no? I just want to know, ilan doon ang talagang apektado, yung mga bata? Sa eskwela ba yan? Ilan sa eskwela ang apektado? Because kung sa eskwela may problema, then we address the solution to the eskwela. Do we address it to the PTA? Do we ask the PTA or the, ang tawag na ngayon doon? 1950s pa kasi yung PTA ng bata ko eh. PTA pa rin, okay, PTA. Kami ngayon, patay takot sa asawa na ngayon. Alam ni General Bato. Yung bang ina-address ba ninyo? Nakita ko dito, meron pa, kasama pa kami sa Red Cross dyan. Ina-address ba natin yung PTA para yung parents? They know, isang question lang, do you know what your child is doing right now? Do you have a campaign like that? Because I'm going to propose it right now. Do you know what your child is doing right now? Yung mga nag-party, sabi kanina, may 11 years old, namatay, 5. Do you know what your children are doing right now? Because to me, we cannot escape accountability by the police. Sisisihin ko kayo, sisisihin ko NBI, sisisihin ko ang justice, sisisihin ko yung mga piskal. But the number one problem is accountability goes back to the family, then to the school, then to the community, then to the churches. And then, kung nasa bilibid yung drug lord dun, may mga TV, may mga jacuzzi, may baril, may babae. Then, anong ginagawa ng bilibid? Hindi ba pwedeng isara yung pinto ng bilibid para hindi makakapasok? Hindi ba natin pwedeng higpitan yung Manila International Airport, yung Cebu International Airport, nahigpitan yan at pag may nahuli, talagang upakan talaga yung mga yun. Di ba? Hindi ko sila sempatay na, upakan lang. Tama ba yun? To me, we're going to create another agency here. Bibigyan pa natin ng rasyon yung mga tao na PhilHealth, bibigyan ko ng PhilHealth, ang daming diabetic na hindi mabigyan ng dialysis support. Ang daming may cancer. Tapos sabihin nyo pa ngayon sa mga bata, mag-drugs kayo, may PhilHealth kayo mamaya, kaming bahala sa inyo. I didn't hear you say anything about that. Takot ba kayo sa mga senador? Hindi naman siguro. You're here to tell us the truth. If you think that this is going to be redundant, you have the right to say that. That's why you're here. If you think we're going to give PhilHealth, will putting PhilHealth here encourage more or decrease? That's my question. I'm sorry, I'm very passionate. Hindi ako galit. Ano lang ako.
Sir, talking about the drug problem, out of the 3.4 million...
3.7, you said 3.7.
1% of these are youth. Youth with the age of 10 to 19.
10 to 19?
Yes, sir, mostly male. There's no distinction between rich or poor. The Department of Health, Department of Education has a program with the elementary and high schools on drug education, preventive drug...
Sir,
yes, sir.
Let me just cut you off. I'm sorry. The Department of Education has a health problem. How many dentists do we have in every school? How many doctors do we have in every school? To me, if you have a problem in school like this, you should have a psychologist who will make sure that when there's a problem, he can spot it, and right away, he should apply the necessary approach. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes, sir. In fact, we're recommending to the new agency for all legal drug activities to be channeled through the PRADA. So they can give direction and focus to the illegal drug operations.
So my question is, you need guidance counselors that are well-trained. Hindi kailangan psychiatrist. Pagka talagang grabe na, you get a psychiatrist in the city. Dapat meron nun. Hindi ba? Kasi dito, tinitignan ko yung inyong rules eh. Yun yung mga ginawa sa PIDEA. Meron kayong mga rules dito na kailangan pag nahuli, kukunin yung pera ng drug lord, kukunin yung ari-arian, yung mga aeroplano, yung mga kotse, yung mga yata. Let me ask my tokayo, Richard, Undersecretary, meron na ba kayo nakuha mga kotse, marami na ba kayo nakuha kotse, lote, bahay, mansion, na mga drugs na lords na nahuhuli nyo?
Honestly, sir, hindi ho, halos wala pa ho. Dahil sa ang nangyayari po, the focus is, so what we get are the evidence only that are recovered.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is a dead letter law again. So what I'm saying is, we in the Senate have to focus where the problem is. That is a particular problem na kakatakutan. Lahat ng tao takot makuha yung bahay niya, makuha yung pera niya, pero pumapasok pa sa bilibid. Mga damo talaga. Abay, dinidilaan kayo. Kayo mga polis, kayo sa mga Justice Department. Paano niyo pinapayagan makapasok doon, hindi niyo nakuha yung kanyang pera, nakakapagdala pa sila ng baril, babae, talagang bathtubs, doon sa... di talaga niloloko tayo, di ba? Kaya may problema tayo. Whether it came from the past administration is of no moment. We have a problem, let us face it. If 1% is coming from the schools, harapin natin kagad dyan. I will recommend that we provide very highly trained guidance counselors. There's another one here. Sinasabi nyo, lahat ng syudad, masay forensic laboratory para makatulong sa pag-determine kung may drugs. Sama po ba yan? Meron po bang ganon? O ilan lang? Konti lang ho, ano ho? So, kaya nahihirapan kayo, kaya 27% succession rate, sapagkat pagdating na doon sa juzgado, hindi natin sigurado contraction, tatagal, madidismiss yung kaso. Tama po ba yan? Yun ang problema eh. That is why you are all here. Kayo na ngayon na sinisisi ko. Pag humarap kayo dito, this is our chance to be educated. We do not have a franchise on education here. Your experience will tell us kung ano ang mali doon sa law. And that is why I would like to put it in perspective. I don't mind na sumuko sa inyo 600,000. Sumuko 1 million. Fine. Alam ko na ngayon kung sino. And I like it because ang success na takot, na intimidate. Kaya ako, I have no opinion. Na sinabi, itong mayor na ito, itong congressman na ito, itong ganito, nag-uumpisa na sila ngayon. Although, that is a very bad procedure. You have to prove it. You have to prove it. Especially the police. I told them, you cannot say that because you will be charged with grave threats. If you say that, maybe the president can do that because you will have to wait until he's finished with his term before you can sue him. But my point is this. At least naandyan yung 1 million or 600,000 na alam nyo na, sabihin nyo na doon sa mga eskwela, tulungan nyo na ng guidance counselors, tulungan nyo na, pasok, hindi naman kailangan punong lahat yan eh. Pero alam na nila yan, pagka nahuli ka pa, buwa tayo ng batas, aggravating circumstance yan, tataas ang penalty sa'yo. Pwede po ba yun? Hindi po ba solution yan? So, ayan, nahuli nyo, may pakinabang tayo ngayon, doon sa nangyari na sumuko, alam natin ngayon, may record sila, malalaman natin ngayon na talaga dapat, pagka kayo gumawa niya ngayon, dadaldalan natin ang inyong penalty. Pwede po ba yan? Because kung dadagdagan ko lahat yung sinasabi dito sa inyong rules ng PIDEA, sasabihin ko, hindi nag-work. Pero it doesn't mean just because it doesn't work, means that it is not good. You just have to implement it. Hindi po ba? You have to implement safeguards in the Manila International Airport para hindi makapasok, pati lang nagbala. You have to implement doon sa Bilibid para hindi makapasok yung drugs. Dapat parusahan kung mahuli. Hindi po ba? So the problem is really enforcement. So when the police does their work today, and I'm not going to say anything about killings, I'm going to ask the police later on, paliwanag nyo, yung mga vigilante killings kung meron, ayoko yan. Kung merong talagang smoking gun, nakaposos na, binaril, nabaril, magpaliwanag kayo. Pag nagpaputok yung police, magpaliwanag kayo, may internal affairs tayo, we did the law, implement that, that is fair. But right now, I will pat the president down to everybody because now, nangatakot. There is an atmosphere that the bully pulpit has been utilized and people now realize that the government is now really focused on implementing the law. Natatakutin lahat yung mga drug pushers. Tama po ba yan? On that note, I will finish because there will be many more days to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Gordon. Senator Nasan has a follow-up question.
Mr. Chairman.
How many?
Oh, just one question.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I know it's a little late, but we cannot. Inspired by the impassioned issues raised by Senator Gordon, we touched on Senate Bill number 3 and Senate Resolution number 19, which deals with the youth. I would like to address this question. I ask permission from the chairman to try to help end on a light and high note. Chairperson Aisa.
Sir.
Yeah, you mentioned something about parenthood.
Yes, Mr. Senator.
Okay, and si Ronald, CPNP, said something about the local governments being the frontliner and coordinating mechanism. Okay. Of course, education. No?
Yes, Mr. Senator.
But maybe, Chairperson, I said, baka Jurassic na kami ng pag-isip.
Hindi naman.
Take your word for it. But the traditional approach is, it starts with the family.
Yes.
Lahat ng debate na nilabukan namin, ultimately, ang ultimate solution talaga is good parenthood.
Yes, Mr.
Pero pag
Senator.
sinabing education, yung youth ang pinupuntirya. Ito, it's an open-ended question and I would just like to ask, meron ba kayong naiisip na yun? Dahil kanina, after hearing you to, naramdaman ko, there seems to be a fresh wind of change flowing across the policy landscape. So, meron ba kayong naiisip na ngayon na programa or mechanism for educating what Senator Gordon said, the families and the parents?
Yan po.
Dahil we have to do this holistically.
Actually, Mr. Senator, yun po yung mga iniisip po namin. Sa ngayon, iniisip pa lang. At pag-uusapan na po agad-agad pagkabalik ko po sa opisina ngayon, Mr. Senator, because I really feel, coming from a family na masasabi ko na, from personal experience, galing po ako sa isang industriya na masasabi natin na malakas po ang temptation ng drugs. At I'm proud to say na hindi po ako nalulong at never akong gumamit. So, ang plano ko po at ang plano po ng Commission is to really work closely with, especially DepEd now, to really to really address this problem. And yes, ako naniniwala po ako na kailangan talaga makausap ang mga pamilya. Kailangan makausap ang mga pamilya at magkaroon din ng panayam din. Kasi ang problema po is, may ilang percent po na nasa eskwelahan. At mas marami po ang percentage natin ng mga out-of-school youth na wala pong eskwelahan. So yun po sa totoo lang, iniisip ko pa rin po, and sana po matulungan din ninyo kami to address that because paano po namin ma-address ang mga out-of-school youth, saan po namin sila i-address, barangay po ba ang tutulong dito, and hopefully with the SK, mas mapalakas natin ang presensya ng youth natin sa mga barangay para matugunan natin ang mga problemang ito ng mas malapit sa kanila. Grassroots ba, kumbaga doon tayo, magsisimula tayo sa ibaba. Pero yes, we will definitely work on that, no? Coordinating with all schools para po mas mapalakas ang education. And talagang siguro po, hindi po, naniniwala po ako na we cannot have a cookie-cutter policy. Importante po na, hindi po rin yung directive ko sa NYC, no? Gusto namin kilalanin ang aming mga constituents. Gusto namin na, alam po, ang bawat rehiyon, iba ang problema. Bawat rehiyon, iba ang problema ng drugs. May iba sa Maynila, siguro most of us, hindi lang kahirapan, pero dahil sa parenting, may iba naman dala ng kahirapan. Iba-iba po. And we have to have a different approach to be able to tackle it effectively. So, yun po. Kumbaga ngayon po, masusing pag-aaral, and hopefully with our coordination with the PNP and PIDEA, Dangerous Drugs Board, DOH, yun po, yung sa DOH especially, sir, Mr. Senator, yun din po yung talagang siguro very passionate din po ako about that na ang mental health issues po ay kailangan nating pag-usapan. And may I say na to all of you, alam ko po papasok na po ang budget season ninyo. And sinasabi po natin lahat na ang youth po ay napaka-importante. Kami po ang sinasabing kinabukasan ng ating bayan. Right now, kulang na kulang po kami sa tao. We cannot address so many problems. Kami po ang nag-handle ng 15 to 30 years old na mga constituents natin, and hindi po natin ma-address ito hanggang sa kaibuturan ng mga barangay kung wala po ang tulong ninyo. And if you really believe that the youth is the future of the Philippines, please invest on us. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Chairperson Aisan, yung traditional na thinking, itagdag ko lang, kailangan talaga pagtulungan ito dahil ang traditional thinking is dapat alam ng mga magulang kung nasaan, anong ginagawa, sino kasama, anong oras umalis, anong oras uwi, yung mga anak, no? Mga medyo pumilya. No? So, we're going for the source. I have this gut feel that your commission will take the lead in providing the ultimate solution to this problem. And I encourage you to do that. Thank you so much.
Yes, we will, sir. Thank you very much.
Note, very impressive, Chairperson Aisa. Anyway, we'll take into consideration your suggestion to invite them during the next hearing. We may or may not invite all the resource persons present this morning, but we will definitely have a second hearing. And we'll just notify you in case you will be invited. Thank you very much. And thank
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
pero baka pwede sa next hearing, invite din natin ng DFWD.
Okay. Yes, we will do that. So, this hearing is suspended. Thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you. Thank you.